The second part of a Friday doubleheader on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. As unintentional as it was, it works out a treat as we launch into an extraordinarily long weekend in every sense of the word. It's a huge weekend in sporting circles. It's a 3-day weekend here in Australia, with the National Day falling on a Sunday, the observance for it therefore carrying over into the Monday. And we start the long weekend, the first of the season of 2025, at the Daytona International Speedway, the World Centre of Racing, and round one of the Spreyton Ciders LeMans Hypercar Championship. Good evening, everybody. It's a triple threat here in Central Commentary this evening. It's Zach Caban alongside Nick Photiadis and Joe Baldwin. Joe will be punching the buttons and chiming in as we go with a couple of updates that Nick and I may or may not miss along the way. But it's great to get the old band back together, Nick Photiadis, and have you in Central Commentary. This is your baby this season. This is your IndyCar for Term 1 of 2025. Happy New Year to you. Good evening. Welcome. Explain why the Hypercars are front and centre on a Friday night, please.
Good evening, Zach. Well, I wanted to run this one 2 seasons ago, but I got jumped by a particular sponsor wanted the LMP2, so I had to sit back and wait. And then let's give it a run on Friday night. I've got a different way of running things on Friday night, so I thought I'd give it a try. Plus the hype surrounding the Hypercars, the openness of the racing. There's manufacturers still entering in before Le Mans this year, so what the hell, let's give it a shot. The new Ferrari just got launched, and it looks like there's going to be quite a wide variety of cars, but it looks like maybe only one might be winning tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to that in just a moment. Hello to Brett Bradbury just chiming in there and saying g'day. This is not the car to drive after 6 scooters at the bowling club. Oh, we're up and away on a Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. This is normally, spicy cola territory. Hello to Trent Lavis on that.
We don't condone drinking and driving.
No, we certainly don't. 5.7 kilometres this circuit. It is the famed home of both the Daytona 500 and this weekend, the Rolex 24. The iRacing Daytona 24 last weekend. So it has been at the epicenter of a lot of what we've been doing in recent times. And of course, all eyes on this part of the world on the virtual platform at the back end of March. Our grand finale for GT3 will be there, and the Logitech boys will have their GT3 opener there as well. Into race server we go, and we are sitting at 3 o'clock local server time. It is a 1-hour race. So we're heading for a finish somewhere in the vicinity of 4 o'clock server time. 12 kilometre an hour winds in a mostly western norwesterly direction. 22 degrees the ambient, 25 on track, cloudy conditions. And here is the grid before we quickly have a look ahead to the calendar for the season ahead as well. Jackson Dial alongside Aidan Luthwaite on the front row. So Whiskey Business, they led off to the checkered flag at Watkins Glen earlier in the day in Super Formula Lights 1 and 2. They've reversed the order of that for the start of the Hypercars here. Brendan Grosh and Aaron Russell, great to see him back on the grid. I detailed earlier in the week it's been a particularly tough off-season for him and the rest of the Russell family, of course. Matt Distill and Chris Noble, the third row. Kurt Nommensen, great to see him on the fourth row alongside our Thursday night colleague Daniel Benefield. Aaron Cooper and Andrew Neal make up the top 10. From row 6, Hamish Culland and also Kelvin Little. Bruce Barnes, Tom Donoghue, Matt Schmidtke and Greg Heaney take us back to 16th. Piper and Bobby Camo, Daniel Piper, Bobby Camo from row 9. And then Harrison Arndt and Adam Lavis from row 10. Very rare that you see Adam that far down the order. Scott Jordison, Craig Bond from row 11, Mark Cochran and Anthony Connors from 12, Eduardo Zamora, David Baz from 13, Nick Wilcoxon and Shane Gilbert from 14, Pete Matson and Shane Ewens from 15. Then from row 16, yes, the field keeps on going, ladies and gentlemen. Liam Braden, Dave Oliver, Ash Dodson and Brett Bradbury make up the field. Andrew Dutch yet to take his position on the start grid. There they are on the back straight, ready to rock and roll. We are set to go here, Nick. This is going to be a magnificent championship, and appropriate that we start at the World Centre of Racing, with it being the centre of the motorsport universe this weekend.
It's kind of part and parcel of what I wanted to do. It is the first race of the season in the real stuff, so what the hell, let's make it the first race of the season for the Friday night stuff.
I'll run you through the rest of that calendar a little bit later on, with apologies too, because I was meant to put it up on social media earlier in the day and ran out of time to do so, tidying up a couple of loose ends, including that Super Formula Light broadcast. But the rest of the calendar, there were a couple of TBAs when I put it together earlier in the week. Those TBAs have been filled in, so you'll get your exclusive first look at that calendar for the rest of the season. There it is on your screen right here and now. 2025A, I think you'll find. Joe, we're into the new term, the new season 20 for the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Second, Gilles Villeneuve, then on to Imola, then Spa, Silverstone, then on to Monza, Road America, Suzuka, Road Atlanta, and the Circuit de la Sarthe. So all the big daddies of sports car and Grand Prix racing here on a Friday night, and we are excited to get this show on the road. 60 minutes the journey around the World Centre of Racing. Joe?
I fixed it.
Oh, good boy. Well done. On the fly, too. Very impressed.
Nice work.
Very impressed. Now,
and I have a little update from the pits already.
Yes.
You were talking about Adam Lavis and where his position is at the moment. He's actually struggling with braking in this car at the moment. He's trying to find his feet with the car, and I'm sure he'll get it by the time the race is on the way.
Here we go.
Green flag and racing at Daytona. Let's go on a Friday night. Night 5 of week 1 at time 1 for 2025, and there is the 707.
Oh, one round.
Wall trouble, and that could be problematic. 1, 2, 3. Oh dear. Aaron Russell caught up. They've done well to miss for the most part, but there are 5 cars that have run into trouble in the opening 3 corners of this race, and 3 wide going into the horseshoe. That never normally ends well. It has on this occasion. Aidan Luthwaite has slotted in behind his teammate Jackson Dyle. Chris Noble to 3rd. Matt Distill, Aaron Cooper, Andrew Neal. Those that have run into trouble include Dave Oliver starting from pit lane, Kurt Normanton on the tow rope already, and Aaron Russell and Brendan Grosh.
Benefield's falling down the field as well, so I'd say he's got damage.
Yeah.
Well, these guys will be ruining the fact that I don't have competition cautions then, won't they?
Indeed. Although that being said, if the track had ended up blocked just then, and there was every chance it could have, you might have had to have thrown a yellow anyway. All right, let's have a look at the replay. Was there a little bit of assistance there?
A little bit of nudge, I think, maybe.
If he didn't hit that Ferrari, it would have been okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars involved in all of that. One rode the curb a little bit too heavily.
Yeah.
And one at the back just went into the wall as a way of trying to take evasive action, but it's easier said than done when concrete surrounds you. So, the end of the opening lap, and all's well for those that we're following here, including some of our regular protagonists, Nick Fodiatis, when it comes to the open wheelers and also these high downforce cars, the LMP2s of the world. So you got your Matt Distill and your Chris Noble sliding through turn 2 there as well. So barely separable, these two in LMP2. Looks like it's going to be the same in the Hypercars.
Yeah, look, I was saying this before, that you're going to find the Chris Nobles of the world and Aidan Luthwaite's, more pile-ups.
4 cars involved in this one at turn 2 this time round as well. Kelvin Little, Greg Heaney, Matt Schmidtke all caught up in that. Ash Johnson on the tow rope. Aaron Russell still limping his way back to pit lane as well. Daniel Benefield's managed to make his way back up to 12th position. So these guys are being tripped up very early.
Yeah, we'll have to pay the valet to start parking some cars there, because what have we got? Ferrari in, too high. Oh, there's already a spinner in front of him, so he was reacting to that. And then everybody decided to park their cars.
You can't park there, mate.
No.
I saw a post earlier in the week. Please, if you have a manual car, please do not ask the valet to park it. I thought that was smart.
Or actually, don't even ask me to park it, quite frankly. There's a reason why I 30 is auto. Jackson Dyle, Aidan Luthwaite, Whiskey Business 1 and 2. Of course, we mentioned earlier that the reason for the fact that you're getting 2 servings of Friday Night Motorsport or Friday Afternoon Motorsport as it was with Super Formula Light is because we didn't have the on-trade broadcast live last night, so we broadcast it as live on delay this afternoon. We hope you enjoyed that. We also equally hope that you'll enjoy the Hypercars here in prime time. Here's Daniel Benefield trying to weave his way back through the field, and to the high side he goes. Oh, it's bold and brave and beautiful from Benefield around the outside. Have a look at that. Nicely done. Both for the price of 1.
Nice work. Wow. I did watch a bit of the the esports version of this, the 24s for last week, and the top split were going really, really, really wide into turn 1. They're almost brushing the cones on the right-hand side before they actually made the turn in for the apex at 1 there. So watch for that. There's a couple of guys doing it. Chris Noble, I know, is already doing it now, so it might rubber up, and then more people might be using it.
And
David Kirby says good evening, but I think he's talking to progressive and civilised parts of the country.
In a plural.
It's still afternoon in some parts of the world.
Afternoon here, it's just going lunchtime over here.
That's exactly right.
Car park again.
more
Another
trouble.
one.
That's an enormous shunt.
Caddy off.
Damage on the rear end of that car.
Gilbert,
Oh,
Shane Gilbert
was a big
drops down to
one.
28th.
it looks like he's driving
Trouble
a
for
Peugeot.
Caddy. Kurt Normanton has got back out on the racetrack too, boys. Oh,
Just got a helping hand, and then he got off the brake.
and was he trying to close the door?
The vision out of these cars, I know you got the iRacing virtual mirror, but generally speaking, the vision out of these cars is terrible.
Copy.
As we can see here, thank you, Joe, right on cue. So you can see Hamish there is already using that wide line that the esports drivers are using last weekend.
I got my eye on 3 different things here at the moment, boys. Our broadcast, the Australian Open men's second semi-final, the Big Bash Challenger. We'll go around the grounds when we get a chance to catch our breath here. Acura 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at the moment.
Yeah.
Ferrari 9 and Porsche 10. Bondi's up 12 spots. His teammate Nick Wilcoxon's up 16 spots. Pays to keep your nose clean in the opening stages. There has been a huge rate of attrition early on already. Russell Normanson, Oliver down a lap. Kelvin Little back on the track now, having spent 2.5 minutes on pit lane. Greg Heaney's back out there. Ash Dodson too, but they're well off the pace. Jackson Dial leads the way, 129.055, the fastest lap of the race thus far. So Nick, here's your chance. Fill me in a couple of gaps here, and then we'll get you to talk us through a lap, most likely with one of our front-running cars. 5 manufacturers available to choose from in this series, so that's on par with GT4, for instance, but a different makeup of manufacturers. And also, we're expecting most likely a 2-stopper tonight.
Yes. Sorry, Zach. That pending storm that we were just talking about just scared the absolutely living daylights out of me just then. Yes, so 5 manufacturers, 4 of which are IMSA. As you see, there's Chris Noble taking that line that all the esports drivers are doing last week. And look at the corner speed. Look at
It worked for him. It worked. Oh,
Another one.
Barbecue.
Oh, Benefield.
Daniel Benefield's come undone. And I'll tell you what, Chris Noble and Matt DeSille were arguing over the same piece of real estate. Noble has got on by.
Oh, he's on his own too.
For Daniel.
Rear, it's the rear.
Oh, no.
There it goes.
Oh, Daniel.
And he was wide.
You need
on the
Panadol for
exit
that one.
of the bus stop.
Oh!
Oh, no. Who was that
One
that
of only a
came in
handful of
behind
Porsches that
him?
just hit him.
I think that might have been Matto. Pete Madsen? I'd say
Yeah,
he's...
Maddo's on pit
so
road.
he-
That's well done. Well observed from you, Joe.
All right, so he's
Nice,
actually...
Joe.
Oh, there's been
he's
contact
trying to get
there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Jeez,
So-
when it doesn't rain, it pours, guys. Oh,
Completely
terrible.
separate
Black flag.
isolated incidents. In the sense that Maddo had no control of his vehicle. When he come unstuck, he got a helping hand, and the momentum of that has just carried him into Daniel Benefield. This is Bruce Barnes just pulling up and saying, I've had a gutful of this.
Yeah, he's had enough.
Well, that's the thing. If you're slowing down and the guy behind doesn't see it because he's blinded by your car, you're just going to get a helping hand there.
I think they're very lucky that they're not going 24 hours here, boys. I'm not sure many of them would make it at the moment. David Kirby just doing my job for me, actually. Thank you, David.
We'll go for a lap
appreciate
with
that.
Aaron Cooper, if you like.
Let's do that. Nick, talk us through it.
Here we are in turn 1. Did he take the wide line? He only takes it as wide as the delineated initial part of turn 1. Through turn 1, through the flip-flop, down to the first of the hairpin. Generally in one of the lower gears, so second gear, then busted out of here. Let the internal combustion engine starter up, and then the electric motor go through the kink, up to another hairpin. There's about 26 different lines you can take through this hairpin.
Tip.
Let it run wide. Run your way up through the gears. See there in the bottom right-hand corner, down to this little opening hairpin onto the back straight, onto the banking again. Run it up through the gears. Let your electric motor do its thing.
Have a
There
drink.
are different modes.
Have a drink, cook a snag, make a sandwich.
Yeah. And it's a good thing it's only GTPs. If we had all the categories in here, you'd be weaving in and out of cars, which I expect to see this weekend. Into the bus stop. What do we got? 5th gear, 4 apexes, nice and quick, and then back on it again. And if you didn't screw that up, you won't get a slowdown, and you should be just nice and clean through to end that lap. So about a 91, 92 second lap when race pace.
These guys are flying in the early stages here. Of course, if they're going 2 laps every 3 minutes, that's 3 by 20 gets you to 60. So 2 by 20 gets you to 40. And take into account the pit lane transit as well. So 39, 40 laps is about where we're headed tonight, folks.
Ooh,
Big dive bomb down the inside. Craig Bond really going to dive, but he's going to get it back. He's going to get 8 back. Tom Donahue pointing the wrong way.
Should be out there charging $5 a head to park on the outside of turn 1. You'd make a killing tonight. Had a bit of trouble here. A couple of guys. Bruce Barnes has been in this, and oh no, that was where he parked. But Aaron Russell.
It up.
What's happened to
Unfortunate
Aaron?
for Aaron.
It's on his own.
Nice, distinct, bloody
no.
orange livery on that car, but he's
So
pulled up and said, that's it. So something untoward's going on there for the man from the Hunter Valley, from Go Karts Go. And he's parked up and he's exited the server, gone exit stage right. Liam might be about to do the same thing. And so Daniel Benefeld out, Aaron Russell out. They're the only 2 retirements thus far. Everybody else soldiering on patiently with it at the moment. I wonder how long it'll take for that patience to wear thin as we go on board with Clellan now. This is the top 7. The positional totem pole, pluses and minuses, is going to be extraordinary reading tonight. And Matt Distills just punched out his best lap of the night, 129.319. Chris Noble, Aaron Cooper, Andrew Neal, we ride on board with Cleveland there. It is Acura 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bondi, the best of the Porsches, in 8th. The best of the Ferraris is Harrison Arndt in 9th, and the best of the Cadillacs is Daniel Piper in 10th, and we are not even near the first fuel stop window just yet. It is great to have you along for the ride. We're 11 minutes into a 60-minute journey here at the World Centre of Racing on Rolex 24 weekend, round 1 of the Spreyton side of Le Mans Hypercar series on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club to end week 1 of term 1 for 2025. As Nick's already mentioned, get your comments in, get your feedback in. Joining the conversation here with us throughout the course of the evening. We're here not just for the race, but also the post-show that follows as well. And, of course, we fire back up into life on Monday night, which is the end of the public holiday in all parts, all jurisdictions. How nice to have every single state and territory unified on when to observe the Australia Day public holiday. Absolutely fantastic. I wish we could do the same for the King's birthday.
I was going to say, yeah, he's got about 6 birthdays, isn't he?
Oh, no, it's ridiculous. He's got a different birthday in Western Australia to what he does in Queensland, to what he has in all the progressive and civilised parts of the country. It's extraordinary. Now we're at 12 minutes, which is 1/5 race
so
distance.
far as to say it should remain being called the Queen's birthday, but that's another story.
Hello, Joe. Joe down 21 spots, but at least he is back out there.
Oh, just something to look out for, Zach, when we come up to pit stops. Tyres are done separately from fuel. So if someone has a longer stop, they might have got some fresh tyres on there as well. But you can double, triple stint these even. So we'll see if at the end of this one, if people have gone through in one set.
Indeed, we will. Have a look at this. Riding on board here with Colin again. Keeping Andrew Neal honest. Greg Heaney was right. I do like the distinct yellow on the Whiskey Business Racing Hypercars tonight. A lot of love for the Acura. In fact, all 5 manufacturers are represented. The best of the BMWs is Eduardo Zamora out there in 15th place at the moment, up 10 spots on where he started. It'll be interesting to see. I just get the feeling, Nick, that everybody else that's already had an unscheduled pit stop, they're still going to have to transit the lane twice. So they've already got a rod for their own back, haven't they? Yeah,
they're going to have to do another pit stop, and that's from, I'm just having a look here, Pete Matson in 27th down. Everybody there has to do an extra stop. See Eduardo Zamora, he's got his hands full on this one, the first of the BMW. And then we've moved back to Bobby Camo in the Le Mans winning livery of the Ferrari. And you'll note the Ferraris are slightly different rules, and their deployment of their energy recovery is on the front axle and above 120 kilometers an hour. So you may see a different acceleration out of those guys compared to the rest of the IMSA cars.
Well, begun this year.
Here's a run.
Oh no,
Mr.
Chris
Mirren.
Noble. Chris
There he goes.
Noble. Chris Noble, boys. Chris Noble's on the tow rope and on pit road. So something's gone wrong for Chris Noble. Let's have a look at this. Oh dear, this is not going to end well, I don't think. He's pulled. Oh, no.
Yeah, all by himself.
What on earth has gone on there?
We've had a few of them tonight. We're down to, we've only got 18
He's parked
cars
up
on
and
the
done.
lead
It's Chris
lap.
Noble.
He's
parked up and done. He's exited the server. Survival of the fittest here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think I've ever seen 15 minutes of racing quite like what we've got here tonight. I mean, from the pile-ups to the random, park up and exit stage lefts, there's been a lot of rage quits tonight. Oh dear, never a dull moment on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. We apologise. We were talking about Brett Bradbury, Bobby Camo, Matt Schmidtke. So Camo fending off Schmidtke at the Bradbury, I should say, at the moment. Chris Noble saying the back marker did get him, so that's what's tripped him up. Unfortunate, mate. Disappointing to see the opening instalment of the season end that way for you. But this is the thing, Nick. How many of these drivers are going to consider tonight a write-off and just work with one drop round for the rest of the season?
Well, that's it. Got a almost like a strategic draw four card. You got to plot it and use it correctly. But I mean, if you have to get forced to use it now, it might. It's going to make the rest of the season quite hard. So. And Daytona, relatively easy track, so you just got to keep it on the black stuff. But yeah, once again, you just can't help what other people are doing.
Now, Dial and Luthwaite 1 and 2 at the moment, no change there. I'm watching the totem pole. There's 12 positions going for Harrison Arndt, 14 for Craig Bond, 14 for Anthony Connors, 10 for Scott Jordison, 13 for David Baz, and 11 for Eduardo Zamora, 16 for Brett Bradbury, and 11 for Ash Dodson. All those guys in double digits at the moment. Here's Shane Gilbert off the road again.
Yeah, it's a bit hard without a rear wing on it.
Into the wall. And almost riding it too, quite frankly. Oh dear. Pete Matson, the first of those, a lap down at the moment. Greg Heaney, the last of the drivers on the lead lap in 24th place.
Well, Pete was
despite
in
a transit of the lane himself.
Pete was in 27th a couple of laps ago, so he's up to 25th. So the more people that keep dropping out, he keeps moving up. I think he scored from 25th onwards, so he's in the points.
Indeed he is. And by the way, if you're a fan of the tennis, the first set, Sinner and Shelton is going to a tie break. Sinner breaking back on Shelton, so it was on serve to 5-all. It's now 6-all, and they're going to a tiebreaker to decide the first set. Shades of earlier this afternoon, except I don't expect one of those players to be retiring hurt at the end of the first set. 17 minutes gone, and Jackson Dial. We've not seen too much of the leaders here. Here's Matt Distill making inroads on Aidan Luthwaite, but Jackson Dial has checked out. He's taken off into the sunset here at the World Centre of Racing. 4 seconds to the good on Luthwaite, who's now under pressure from the naming rights sponsor himself, from Barbecue Motorsport, Matt Distill, and the great people at Spreyton Cider. 17 and a half minutes gone at the World Centre of Racing, and this is Shane Gilbert wingless.
And it's going to spin again. There you go. I'd be betting and putting a win on that.
When you've got it.
And Harrison,
exactly.
He's had an issue here. Oh, wide. Grass. Death.
Grass.
Who was that just missed him?
That was Harrison Arndt that's crashed. I don't know who just missed him, though, but I'll tell you what, go and buy yourself a lotto ticket. Extraordinary stuff. It's going to be a challenge, Nick. I don't think anyone was under any sort of illusions with that. I know our good mate Adam Lavis, Joe mentioned it at the very start of the race. He said to me this afternoon that he was yet to make a selection with regards to what car he was going to run. He was always intending to run the series. He just never got round to selecting a car until a couple of hours ago.
He was going to hold me responsible because I told him to go the prancing horse. So
Cooper's
we'll see
in
how he
pits.
goes.
First scheduled pit stop, guys.
He's all right at the moment. He's 15. Aaron Cooper. So there's some fresh rubber going on to the Acura of Aaron Cooper. Craig Bond, Scott Jordison also on pit lane. I wonder if Bondi's tuning into the commentary as he did last year when he was just cutting his teeth in this GSRC caper. He might be getting some free advice on the behalf of the commentary team here. If he's heard us say that Aaron Cooper's come to pit lane, he's probably thought, oh, well, that's a good opportunity for me to dive in and do the same thing. But they've gone probably a lap earlier than what we might have anticipated, around that 19-minute marker, lap 13.
Just noticed something too. Matt Distill's closed the gap.
40. Yep.
Matt Distill's closed the gap to Aiden. Here he is now. Sorry to cut you off there, Zach.
No, you're right.
But yeah, he was at least 2 seconds back, so he just chomped into that. And he's right on Aiden, but on the flip side, Jackson's pulled out to 4 seconds on the other side.
He's gained half a second in the last lap alone. And here comes Jackson to pit lane as well at the end of lap 13. So 19 and a half minutes in.
Oh, they're all in.
They're all in. Here we go. Critical lap is upon us. And they've got to be careful with pulling it up to the line.
Let's see what they do. Who takes tyres, who doesn't.
Jackson Dole would be loving life at the moment. 4 seconds is the good. Clear air. No pressure. And now here comes Aiden Luthwaite onto the jacks.
And Schmicke, Matt Schmicke was just letting me know before that if he tried just a little bit, he could save an extra lap of fuel, because obviously the hybrid system helping that out. But looks like everybody's pitting this lap.
Daniel Piper, the exception.
Well,
Daniel Piper goes on again.
Jackson's way.
He's not in a Honda. I mean, Acura.
Oh, Distill got blame.
Yes, he did. Distill's leapfrogged.
Nice.
Aiden Luthwaite on pit road. Very swiftly, very skillfully done. Half a second was the difference at the jacks, and it's the difference between second and third on the racetrack. Distill getting the hurry up from Luthwaite as they re-enter the racetrack. So dials out to the good 3.5 seconds. Distill and Luthwaite. Then Clellan. Camo has come through, and he's opted not to stop in the Ferrari. So Piper and Camo yet to stop. Rest of the field cleansed. And 21 seconds, is that about on par with what we were expecting?
I believe so. It looks like everybody was taking on tyres there as well. I could be wrong. I might have to jack up the car to fuel it anyway. But, yeah, it looked about right. Looks like everybody else did it.
Plenty to pay attention to. Plenty to be. Can't finish the race. Had to go. Enjoy the rest of the race, guys. The advice from Aaron Cooper. I couldn't imagine driving this track after being there for 24 hours last Saturday. The words of wisdom from Daniel Sneddon, and that's fair too. It's 5-1 in the tiebreak. Sinner leading Shelton at the moment. Shelton's got a little bit of work to do. He's going to be able to turn that around. End the race now with Piper in the lead is the advice from Entropy Simsport. I don't think it works quite like that without some persuasion on the financial side. Daniel Piper, the leader. It has come now to pit lane, and here is Andrew Neal. Oh, dear.
Jeez, it would be good for a yellow flag right now, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. It would be.
Piper's in the pits.
Just to shake it up. So Bobby Camo we expect to come in this time around as well. Piper comes out in behind Matt Distill and Aiden Luthwaite. Okay, hang on.
Hey.
Hang on. What's happened here?
Uh-oh.
Where has Jacko gone, please? Where has Jackson Dole dropped to?
Oh, here.
I can't see his name.
He's back in the pits.
He's 27th. He's on pit road.
He's been
He has been for a minute. So Jackson Dole, whilst we've been looking at replays and down the line and everything else, Jackson Dole's back on pit road. What the hell's going on here?
He must have had
the race leader is done.
Pit lane penalty. No, he's got no rear wing.
No, pit lane penalty would be 40 seconds. This is longer than that. Yeah, he's got no wing.
He's got no wing. Our race leader has encountered trouble on the, what was it, the 14th lap as he's left the pit lane.
The pit lane, yeah.
And he's ended up back on the tow road.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Another twist in the tail.
Wow.
I'll ask you, Nick, as well. How long is it going to take these guys? Because this is a new car in terms of... We've seen these cars before in long trim.
Oh, no.
I've done that.
Has he gone on his own?
He's gone off on the very first corner out of the pits. He goes through the flip-flop out of the pits and then missed the break.
No, it's the next one. It's the next one.
Here we go.
It's the second horseshoe. Oh, he's looped it all on his own. Oh, no. Can you believe that? And the wing's fallen off on the rejoin. Jackson Dole.
And Matt still in the lead.
No. And he's still on pit road.
He's got a Honda Pirelli.
Dole's night is done. Matt Distill is leading Aiden Luthwaite by 0.4 of a second. So Luthwaite, exactly where he was earlier in the day in Super Formula Light, essentially. He's got a playmate here. He's got a dance partner. He can save a little bit of fuel or return serve and you know, pull the competition along. Yannick Sinner, by the way, 7-2, 71 minutes. First set is in the bag for the defending Australian Open champion. Second thing, it's now going to be decided on the second pit stop and pace. So what we've got here is a magnificent opportunity to see these guys play cat and mouse. Another GSRC Classic one-lap down car doesn't move for the race leader, breaks early and runs wide. I lock up trying to pull the car up in time. Oh, poor Jacko. Can you believe the bad luck?
Yeah,
I mean, a great run earlier today. A great run earlier today in SFL. Or last night for those guys. Obviously, we only showed it to you today. And then that's happened there. Bad luck, mate. But you're in very good company tonight. The list of the walking wounded is as long as the straight here at Daytona. It has been a race of attrition. There's no doubt about that. Which brings me to the next point. So, obviously, Luthwaiten to still have a wonderful opportunity here to go and test each other's skill set out and really put the pressure on one another and keep each other honest. This is going to hold our attention right up until the very end, I would imagine.
Oh, no.
More lap traffic. Is that Matto on the wall?
That was.
Matson.
I think he just
beat in the wall big time. Have a look at this.
You get one wheel locked up and it goes straight. Yeah, he's trying to
allow Aiden Luthwaite to go through unharmed, and that is the consequence, unfortunately. Matson, Little, and Darwell on pit road.
And that right there is a perfect, you know, and I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody, but that's a perfect example of why it's actually on the cars that are lapping the cars that are a lap down. It's on them to make the pass cleanly. Where Matto went wrong there, I feel, he actually got out of the way and it caused the incident for Matto. Like, it's on the car that's doing the overtaking to make the overtaking safe. Like, that's part of it. It's in the iRacing rulebook, right? Blue flags are only there for information. They're not there telling you to move your ass out of the way. That's not what they're for. They're there to let you know there's a faster car than you behind you. Proceed with caution. Unfortunately, Matto used a little bit too much, put himself in an awkward position, and that's what happened. You know, so two sides of the same coin we just seen there. Unlucky for Jackson with what happened to him. Missed the dial, terrible luck. And by the same token, terrible luck for Pete Matson.
Look at this list of walking wounded. Daniel Benefield, Aaron Russell, Chris Noble, Bruce Barnes has got back out there, but he's 8 laps down, so classification might be an issue for him. Shane Gilbert's parked up. Aaron Cooper's parked up. Jack O'Donnell's parked up. And Pete Matson now as well. I mean, there's just an extraordinary growing list of the who's who of the GSRC. Parked up and done for the night and off for an early shower. And I could do with one of those up here. I'm sweating like a pig in this commentary box at the moment.
We've got a battle.
We do.
And tomorrow.
So these two are no stranger to one another, this company. And there they are. Look at the commitment required to smash over those ribble strips in the bus stop, Nick.
Yeah, it's incredible how fast these cars are. The BMW here and the Ferrari. You know, you can see there the Baz there was just a touch wide, and you can see he's lost his run now. So he's got to work really hard to build that back up again and try and have another crack. As I say, he's closed in on turn 1 here, and who they got in the company there? That's Dave Oliver, who's a lap down.
Yeah, he's a little bit too far off the pace. I mean, he's not off the pace. He's no slouch in any regard, but he did start late, unfortunately.
But
so, and this is the point. He'll get himself into the points because of the attrition rate. There's no doubt about that. But so pick it apart for me, Nick, because it's not as though we're any stranger to these cars. They were prominent in our GSRC Endurance Championship before that folded last year. We've seen them before. We're familiar with them. But why exactly do you think are we seeing the attrition rate that we're seeing tonight?
I think first week back, Zach, everybody's dropped it. No patience. They're all looking at it with fresh eyes again. We've been on holiday. First day at school again, you know, you're trying to learn where you can push the teacher, that kind of thing. Push some classmates, that kind of thing. And I believe that's, everybody's just rushing in head first. So you'll find the guys that have improved the most are generally taking it nice and easy. Oh, bit of a wobble there from Donahue.
And a spin.
We got our good friend Bob Colbreath. Rob Colbreath, he normally runs with us in the Mountain Men on a Saturday night. Great guy. He's an expat American. He's living over in Korea. So good evening, Rob, mate. Good to see you tuning in for watching what we're doing on a Friday.
Well, there you go. You got Matt Schmidtke and Adam Maverick, both improved positions here. So I remember Matt was in the car park at turn 1 at one stage. So here he is back up to ninth.
It's heating up front. Sorry, guys, to change on yous.
Well, I was actually going to mention this. Here we go. He's got a run here.
To the outside. We saw this cat and mouse at Watkins Glen earlier in the day. Outside, inside, what line could you best utilise to your advantage here? Lewthwaite bowls it wide at one. Tries to get the up and under, just still gets across and slams the door shut. Firmly. Now look at this. They're about to encounter some lap traffic and Lewthwaite to the outside of the horseshoe. Not yet. But Distill will know he's there.
Having raced and watched Aiden over the last couple Friday night series, and even just in the Indy 500, the final Indy race as well, very smart guy, knows when to save, knows when to push. So he'll push when he feels he's got an advantage, and he'll hold back when he needs to conserve. So he's going to drive a smart race, no doubt.
Indeed he is. We're excited about seeing what this guy brings to the table here. In the meantime, we remind you that we've just gone past the half race distance here, folks. We're very excited about the fact that we've got Hypercars as primetime entertainment here on a Friday night throughout the course of the season, especially when it's as high paced and as intense and pressure cooker as this. You're right, Sean Benici. Aiden is hunting. He can see his target in sight. That is his prey, and he's out in pursuit of it. But it's also high stakes as well, because as you see, ladies and gentlemen, small mistakes lead to huge shunts. We've already seen quite a few tonight. In fact, as I said earlier in the day with Super Formula Light, I'll say it again now, Grant Gill can piece next season's intro together this weekend, if he really wants to. With the amount of bingles that we've had throughout the course of the week. That's the real done for term 2 already, pending a change in categories, of course.
Kurt's pulling over, letting them through.
Good work, Kurt. Very gentlemanly done, skillfully done, gentlemanly applied the traits of the club, the mantra of the club, and the ethos of the club. Very well done, Kurt Normanson.
Well, it's one of those ones, I guess, Zach, is you got to have a look at what's going on. If you're a lap down, yeah, okay, you still got the right to fight, so to speak. But if you got no one around you that you can fight for position, and the leaders are coming up to you, it's probably a good idea to let them through at a nice part of the circuit.
Indeed.
And yeah, we're halfway through now, so now if you're in Aiden's shoes or Piper's shoes, you'd be trying to put the thumb screws in and try and get yourself set up for that final pit stop.
It's funny, we've still got 16 cars on the lead lap, and the leaders are the closest battle on track.
Yep. And then you got Piper and Bond there in 4th and 5th. So yeah, all the guys pretty much in the top 5.
Bondy wouldn't be able to believe the runs he's having tonight. He'll be ecstatic with this if he can continue to perform along this trajectory and pull this result off. Have a look at Lewthwaite to the outside of the horseshoe, and lap traffic about 20 metres up the road as well. This race is on, and it is a pressure cooker.
Tell you what, I was actually worried that no yellows, Friday night, long race, it might be a bit of an open race, but I tell you what, there's another one. There's the leaderboard slowly but surely lighting up. There's races upon races.
And David Baz has just bolted off the road as well. That'll likely be on the back straight near the horseshoe. Near the bus stop, and that's unfortunate for him. Down the back straight, here it is on replay. He's just got on the tow rope and gone to pit lane. And this is why.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's going to be a big headache.
Oh, call the ambulance.
That is a written off race car.
Oofed.
We'll see that again during the weekend.
Oh, indeed we will.
These guys are having a bit of a battle. Connors and Bond. Craig Bond. He did a bit of racing with us last Friday nights last season, actually. So good to see Bondy back for another season of racing with the Hypercars. And he was probably one of our big improvers from where he started with us last season towards the end of the season. He was a huge improver. Like, hasn't... not so much. Look, it doesn't matter. You don't have to finish up the front in every race to show that you're improved, right? Like Craig, from where he started with the club, it only took him a matter of 8 to 10 weeks, and he'd moved past half the field. So great to see it for him. He's been doing really well, and good to see his improvement as the season goes on. He's currently sitting up 16 positions in 6th at the moment. So a good bag of points to get his season underway.
And he also won the development split of the supercars once the order was corrected on Wednesday night as well, boys. Once the promotions and relegations were made from Adam Lavis's end, there were a few guys that should have been in the elite split on Wednesday night that have been promoted for next week, and Bondi therefore inherited the win.
Yeah, to further your point there, Joe, it just goes to show that doing the laps and being consistent will help improve your results and your speed, rather than just going all out Brussels sprout. So,
well, you don't learn anything when you're hooked up to the Toby.
Exactly, you're doing less laps.
Correct.
Speaking of which, we're looking back from Matt Distill there.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no.
I already had this one keyed up for Liam Brave.
Rear brakes.
Oh dear. Look at the Team Australia throwback the liveries, the vibes of that livery is giving off at the moment. Have a look at that.
That won't be a slowdown.
I was going to say he's going to get a shortcut there.
I tell you what, these guys are on it.
That wide run really gives mid-corner speed to the car of Aiden there, and he gets a good run up here, but there's still every lap box to the right side there. There's going to be a lap where Aiden's going to have to throw it down the right side. Let's have another look now.
Oh, he's got in there this time.
And he was wide as well, was Distill through there, trying to defend the next corner though, so he was trying to set that up. A little bit slow on the exit, but it balked Luthwaite's run. Now here they come, Luthwaite trying to squeeze down the inside. The door was firmly slammed shut in front of Aiden Luthwaite. It's barbecue versus whiskey business. Normally a whiskey would go hand in hand with the barbecue very, very nicely, but I don't think that's going to be the case tonight. As we make our way onto the back straight, we are 24 minutes away from the checkered flag, so critically importantly, worth noting here, boys, that we're not too far off that second round of pit stops either.
Yeah, it's about to start, I reckon. I reckon Aiden's turned up the... Oh, just had a look. Aiden might have changed the strategy on his car, may have gone to qualifying mode or something, so he's really putting the thumb screws in now.
Here we go.
Party mode, as it were, if we're talking Formula 1. Here he comes.
That's it. Now, are they going to pit lane this time by... No, they're not. Luthwaite's going to the outside. I tell you what, it was a photo at the line. If that was the last lap, you would have been going to the judges. Still holds on again. Good racing at the front. Right. If this sets the tone for the rest of the season, we're looking forward to it. There's no doubt about that.
Right at that moment, Aiden needs to put that one in the memory banks, that if he can get the run and the draft and the good side draft coming to the line, he doesn't need to be leading this race right now. He he just showed the draft out of the bus stop, or the car park as some people would call it. Coming out of there to the line, it is possible to get by and get the lead. So, and Matt should, if you're in Matt's shoes, that's interesting. He actually was in front of me at the line, so maybe I want to be on his tail coming out of the bus stop. So, be good. Bit of strategy to put in the memory banks for the last couple of laps.
A bit of NASCAR side drafting, hey Joe?
Yeah, that's right. It does a lot. Dave Baz, he's had an incident here. A bit too wide, and tried to turn it back down the hill and just grip limited, and the rear let go on him. Back up front, 0.3 of a second. So he's not close enough this time around. So
no, not at all. Not at all.
So you have to be
right behind and follow the leader for another lap, Joe.
Well, you've got to know his birthday. You've got to be right on his date coming out of the out of the bus stop to make it work. Oh, he's made a mistake. Pinched a brake.
And that's advantage Matty Distill.
Oh, big deep breath now for Matt for a couple of laps.
Yeah, these guys will be pitting pretty soon too.
Yeah, we're nearly at the 40-minute mark, so I'm there with you. I reckon probably the next 2 laps. I think you'll see them run through the pits. Whether they take tyres or not, that might be. I actually had to buy one of the cars tonight, Nick, to be able to broadcast. So,
all right.
they're not my kind of car. I would never have bought one, but. I don't know what tyre life, how long. I would imagine that tyres would last more than 20 minutes. So I wouldn't have thought that you'd need to put a set of tyres on it in the next one. Scott Jordanson, who's in the pit. So now he was one of the first ones to stop in the first round of pit stops. So
correct.
I think we might be just right on that 20-minute mark for fuel level. So this might be tight for the guys.
Oh, that worked out well. That was the idea. Craig Bond is right behind Anthony Connors, that we see here. And then Aidan Leafway and Matt Distill are in pit lane.
Leaders are in, yes. Well picked up, Nick. So leaders are on pit road. A couple of drivers have already been to pit road for their second stop, including Brendan Grosh. Although that was on lap 16, so I'm a bit worried about whether he can make it to the line from there. Andrew Neil might have to stop again as well. Scott Jordanson's just coming back out onto the racetrack too.
Hamish Cleland, he's in.
Bugger all still on the lead lap here. Only 15 drivers still on the lead lap coming into this round of pit stops. Greg Heaney gets himself back onto the lead lap, but he'll likely have to stop once more as well. So with that rate of attrition climbing, with the out-and-out pace at the front, with the incidents, and with the fact that we don't have a neutralisation of the race by way of a competition caution, or one on merit even, the field has very much spread out tonight.
You'll notice too, Zach, I've set the fuel tanks at 50%. So if you are watching the real race this weekend, what was it, lap 27, you'll get roughly 27 laps out of a tank on full tanks there. So, someone slid through their box.
That's going to be a lot of pit stops in 24 hours. That's going to be more than one stop an hour. That's going to be a lot of work for the crews there.
So Connors had to back up there in pit lane because he slid forward. So that's going to cost him a bit of time. And he was in a fight there.
I have seen your message as well, mate. So point taken and noted, which means that I need to do a little bit more groundwork here with you before we do let you go at the end of the race. But the reality of the matter is, we're talking about these guys getting their heads around the car, etc., and so forth. I think one of the other things that should be noted too is because they're such high-paced race cars, that they're not a slouch car. They're not a Mazda MX-5 or a Formula V or something like that. These things go at a rapid rate. Therefore, high reward but equally high risk.
Oh, and that's it. And we saw the car park that eventuated down there at turn 1, and some of the headache that people are receiving from screwing up the bus stop. So this being quite an open track and the big time difference between the fastest and the slowest, the field is spread out. Hopefully next week or in the subsequent weeks, the field closes up a bit. And who knows, we might have some people turning up and the front of the field might close up as well. Speaking of which,
so pit lane now for Adam Lavis as well. Just let's have a look. How many cars are still running here, boys? David Baz has been on pit lane for 4 3/4 minutes already. Harrison Arndt is out. Tom Donoghue, Pete Madsen, Jackson Dole, Aaron Cooper, Shane Gilbert, Chris Noble, Aaron Russell, and Daniel Benefield. So that's 9 at least on my count. But it's done. So we've lost just over 25% of the field here.
yeah.
Which is not terribly bad, although that's good evasive action from Matt Distill. My goodness, the race leader nearly got cleaned up on the rejoin of the oval.
Liam Braid, I think it was.
He's been in the thick of it tonight, but at least he's persevered. 10 points
Loud pedal. Thunderfoot, as Jay calls it. Jeez, hold your brakes.
There was definitely a scrape of the wall there.
I certainly hope Matt's wearing his brown pants. Aiden's on the chase, 1.6 seconds to the leader, Scotty Jordanson. He's making the highlight reel. What's happened to Scott? Who's in on the inside? Oh.
Oh.
No, that's not the way to do it.
No. No, not at all.
And you notice Adam Lavis was coming out of pit lane there. That was going to be for a position. Daniel Piper in.
Indeed he is. Now, this is the other point as well, gents. I went around the grounds and I was telling you about the tennis. I haven't told you about the cricket. Sydney Sixers, 7 for 151, trying to defend that. Sydney Thunder out of the blocks very quickly, 1 for 34 on the 4th over at the Sydney Cricket Ground in front of over 30,000 people. Let's hope that the rain holds off in Sydney. Craig Bond, his first incident of the night. His first slip up, his only slip up, really. He's had a phenomenal drive up until that point, and still an opportunity to finish with the top 10, but he is 10th now. So he needs to avoid further incident between here and the checkered flag.
Tell you what, Aiden Luthwaite, he has got the goggles on. He's pulled in 7/10 on the last lap. 3/10 on the last lap, but he's picked up a chunk this lap as well. Oh, what's happened to Matt? What's happened to...
Oh, no, he's okay for the moment, Joe. He's okay.
He's dropped half a second in the last 30 seconds. What's going on there?
Might be tight on fuel as well.
I was just thinking maybe fuel saving.
True, but
you know,
there's what, 12 laps to go here, boys. We're coming back to the line. This is going to be 45 minutes gone, and it's a 1 hour race. It's 10 laps from here, so we're only going to get to I do believe, the 39. So we'll fall 1 short. However, if they keep up the pace in the 29s, there's every chance they do squeeze that 40th in. So it's touch and go as to whether it's 39 or 40, but it is at least 10 laps from here. And whatever the case, yes, Distill may have made a mistake, but Luthwaite was still gaining before that, Nick. And he would have been a man on a mission. There would have been a little bit of red mist to send after that earlier bobble in which he gifted Distill about 3/4 of a second anyway.
Yeah, correct. Oh, he's getting right up to him in the brake zones too. But, I mean, if Matt Distill is tight on fuel, you might want to let Aiden, inverted commas, get past with a bit of trying, and then just sit in his toe and do what he did on that lap that Joe said to keep note of. All you need to do is lead that last lap. That's all you need. We'll see here Adam Lavis under fire.
And Lavis trying to hold on to 8th position here, but he's under pressure from Bondi. So Bondi
doing the wide line. There he is. Watch the drive he gets off the corner.
I love the Castrol colours on Adam Lavis's car. Fantastic look. It's a favourite of his. There's no doubt about that. And here goes Bondi. Now Luthwaite. Luthwaite to the high side. Still hangs low. Goes tight. Closes the door. Says to Luthwaite, if you want to get by me, you're going to earn it. And earn it he will. We have only 12 cars left on the lead lap. These guys will most likely incur or encounter lap traffic on the way home here. But Matt Distill has a hell of a fight on his hands. Not from Chris Noble, as we might have thought. Not from Jack O'Donnell, who got caught up trying to avoid another incident. But from Aiden Luthwaite, who has proven that he joins the likes of the Hobsons and the Merritts of the club as one of our more versatile characters. How are you playing this if you're Matt Distill, Nick?
Yeah, you got the thumb screws being applied. It's always easier to chase than to lead, I always feel. But if you're in the lead, you got the lead. So,
correct.
Yeah, look at how much time he takes out of each brake zone. If you're tight on fuel, you're gonna have to get off that loud pedal at some point. So I don't know if it's fuel or you just made some mistakes. But as we know, Aiden's pretty good at stringing laps together, and my Friday nights generally are long races. So
yeah,
he's always good in a long stint.
The Radicals, of course, last term being the exception to the rule there.
Yep.
But still delivered the goods as far as the entertainment was concerned, even without any safety car interventions and the like. Just throw a reverse grid at us any day of the week. That did the trick.
It got rid of some people. Some people didn't like it.
It did. We're 12 minutes from home. So we're very much at a crossroads here. Aiden has always been quick. Hello, Josh Zuno. Where have you been hiding, please? It's only night 5 of week 1. I haven't seen you yet. Was a demon in the Enduro series and these things. Yes, he has, and he was. And yeah, he will be a serious title contender here. Going for the triple treat on a Friday night, of course, having won turn 3 and 4 of 24. Nick.
Just want to point out, teammate Adam Lavis there, been having trouble with the braking. He's up 12 spots into 8, so he's got a top 10 already. We see Connor's
there's
here
a few
putting...
things that we could highlight there as well.
Connor's here putting pressure on Mickey, who's just in front of Adam, funnily enough. Here we go. Which way does Connors go?
To the inside? No. To the outside, yes.
Oh, he was going to go to the
Too
inside,
wide,
but that
too
didn't
wide.
work.
Well, Bolt
Yeah.
is gone.
And now Adam's
Now
going to be
that
on
opens
him.
the door. That gives Adam Lavis a sniff. And family friends up from Progressive Civilization. Nice of you to be able to show them what being 112 years behind looks like, Josh. Well done. I'm sure we've just ticked that one off the bingo card very, very nicely.
Yeah, I'll put 2 crosses through that one.
Mm-hmm. See how quickly we put 2 and 2 together here on the platforms of the GSRC, folks. Matt Distillade and Luthwaite. Hamish Cleland having a quiet run up into 3rd. Daniel Piper to 4th. The best non-Akira entry. It's interesting, isn't it? Akira were expected to dominate here. They're the top
Kelvin
3.
Little?
And that was Kelvin Little getting absolutely swamped. Cadillac 4, 6.
That's weird.
Akira 10, Porsche 9, Ferrari 5, 7 and 8. So 3 Ferraris, 4 Acuras, a Porsche and 2 Cadillacs in the top 10. No BMWs. Eduardo Zamora outside the last car on the lead lap in 12th and Mark Cochran 13th. And to be fair, that is the other big talking point here. The lack of cars still on the lead lap, and we are 10 minutes from home.
I thought, first one back, open track, at least there'll be less silly stuff. No, I was wrong.
Good luck to whoever's reviewing the tape. Glad it's not me.
You see Aiden here is right on it now. Their best laps within a 10th of each other. Their last laps are within a 10th of each other. So the top speeds were a couple kilometres an hour difference. But now, yeah, see, Aiden had the opportunity to go around there. I reckon he's saving as well.
Indeed. And now lap traffic moves to the outside as these guys go low, and now Luthwaite to the outside. Now the up and under, just still well and truly aware of the tactics of Aiden Luthwaite and up for the challenge and the fight here. 9 minutes to go. I get the feeling, given the pace that these guys are running with, I get the feeling they might just eke out that 40th lap. We'll do a minute of overtime or thereabouts, but yeah, keep your eyes on that clock, ladies and gentlemen, because it is touch and go at the moment.
I just noticed on the leaderboard as well, positions 2, 5 and 10, other than those guys, the top 19 drivers have all improved position.
Indeed. Brendan Grosh down 2 and Andrew Neal unmoved. And look at some of the numbers here. Brett Bradbury up 20 spots. So yeah, maybe 6 schooners at the bolo wasn't such a bad thing.
Just goes to show, like, we do a lot of sprint racing, especially at this club, but you set people down for an hour, concentration, fitness levels, all sorts of things start playing into it.
Oh, hello.
Still, he's gone up high. I reckon
and
he needs to
go gone low.
He let him by. There's no way.
100%.
Absolutely. Schumacher Barrichello-esque. He let him by.
He needs to save fuel.
It wasn't a teammate scenario. It wasn't a multi-21. Oh, boy. So, 8 minutes to go. Less than that. 7. Luthwaite to Still. Luthwaite last time round, 1 minute 30.8. So that's the other thing as well. The boys are outside that 90-second threshold now. This is why it's so touch and go as to whether we are going to get that extra lap or not. Probably need to keep an eye on the clock when they cross the line next time and just see where they're at. 7 minutes to go now. If they don't get back to the line before the 54-minute mark, it'll be 4 laps at the line, which means 39 in total. Which says a lot about the pit lane transit and the amount of stationary time as well, Nick.
Yes, exactly. Matt's got a bit of a rock and a hard place scenario here. He's got to still keep Aiden in sights to make anything of it towards the end of the race, but also help him to save some fuel. But if he saves too much, and then Aiden does cough and splutter on the final lap, he won't be close enough to take advantage of it. So he's got to save fuel and still keep the target, in this case Aiden, within sight. It's going to be a tough one.
Yep, easier said than done, especially when it's someone of Luthwaite's credentials. So 1.31 now the margin, and all of a sudden this race has turned on its ear. And again, it's still touch and go with regards to whether they're going to get that 40th lap or not. So we keep our eyes peeled, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, beat me to it, Joe. Andrew Neil put in the some screws in there into Scott Jordanson there.
Teammate on teammate. Oh, actually, hang on. Jordanson was part of the whiskey business stable, but he's... Yeah, okay, so that's been a change.
Team now.
A change in the off-season. I'm aware of another change, and that is Bobby Camo, but I wasn't aware that Jordanson had jumped ship as well.
Oh!
Whoa, trouble! Another one.
That might have given Scott the break that he needed.
The pressure valve released a little bit. Have a look at this. Nick Wilcoxon. Not running the... actually, what's going on there? Because normally he'd be running the Apex colours, which is the green and blue, but not obviously tonight.
These cars...
Dave Oliver, this is on the run down to turn 1 and 2. Oh, the back end gone under brakes. And still we now only have 10 cars, in fact, on the lead lap.
Just going off what my... I'll go on, Joe. Yep.
3 to go. So the pace has slowed up just a smidgen, so it is 3 laps at the line, and Jordanson gives the former teammate a nudge.
I was going to say, Zach, for the colours.
Yes.
Talking to my team leader and painter, Paul Wood. Yes. These things are very intricate, and especially like something like the Acura or the Ferrari. They're very intricate, and there's a lot of little bits and pieces. So to get them right, it's going to take him a while. So he's needing another week or 2 to get the paint jobs up to speed. So that may be the case for some of these other teams as well.
Yeah, I'd imagine you're onto something there, Nick. Well played. 3.5 minutes to go, 2 laps at the line, folks. So outside that 4.5 minute threshold last time by. So it is 2 laps at the line, and that probably does everybody a favour on the fuel front. Still holding on to second and comfortably. Like Hamish Cleland is 23 seconds down the road, and Daniel Piper is another 29 beyond that. Brendan Grosh another 6 seconds. So everyone is spread out. And Aiden Luthwaite's lead is now pushing 3 seconds, and that is what happens when Brett Bradbury's schooners catch up with him.
That's it. I'd say the rear wing being held on by wires or something. Electrical wires.
Yeah, this is as good as done, I reckon.
So you mentioned it before, Zach, Hamish Cleland, the 619. Bit of Rey Mysterio happening there. He's just had a quiet race, just moved his way up 8 spots into third, and Daniel Piper another one, 13 spots into 4th.
Look at old dad jokes here in the comment section too, by the way. Yes, very nicely done. Well done, Josh. Well played. Excellent stuff. Oh dear. Luthwaite, Distill, Cleland, they were on the run home, and Brendan Grosh still managing a top 5 finish. And the tail of the walking wounded beyond that, there are so many drivers that are going to be happy to see the back end of Daytona, that are going to be very disappointed with how it played out tonight. Remember, we go 39 laps, so as far as classification's concerned, if we're talking 75% race distance, well, geez, you've got to complete 29.25 laps, which means you've got to complete 30. So at the moment, Everyone down to Bruce Barnes is going to be okay. And everyone beyond that's retired anyway, so it doesn't matter. So everyone's going to be okay, but by the skin of their teeth.
Well,
now, Brett Bradford's back on pit lane to get that rear wing repaired as well, boys, and Aidan Luthwaite's just got the white flag.
I was just going to say, it poses a question. David Baz there has only completed 22.99 laps, and he's in 25th. Does he get points?
If he's listed as a DNF, I'm not sure he does.
Rear brakes.
If he's already exited the service. So it could be a case of only 24 drivers scoring points tonight. That's unfortunate for Adam Lavis for it to finish that way, but he's still 8th. Craig Bond's 7th.
He's still 8th on the lead lap.
And he's the second of the Ferraris as well, Joe.
Before we get to the end, night 1 of the Grand Annual Sprint Car Classic down there at Warrnambool. We've got our top 5 in Jamie Veal over Lockie McHugh. Kerry Madsen in 3rd. Jordan Charge is a great young kid. He's come on. He finished 4th. And Brock Hallett, who was champion 2 years ago, in 5th. So they're your top 5 from tonight that will all be locked into the A-Main on Sunday.
And they're good people too. Our good mate, Brenton Hobson, trackside and in his element watching that tonight.
Oh, yeah,
on the way home, however, is Aidan Luthwaite. Chalked up victory earlier today in Spreyton Cider Super Formula Light. He's going to do the Spreyton Cider double on a Friday at the World Centre of Racing. Main straight, checkered flag. Round 1 of the Spreyton Cider Le Mans Hypercars goes to Aidan Luthwaite. Winning margin 1.4 seconds. So Matt Distill did give it a crack towards the end there. Luthwaite did slow down a touch, but Aidan Luthwaite still does enough to withstand the pressure twice in one day and get the job done.
Yeah, well done to Aidan there. I know someone like Matt Schmidtke finishing there in 6th. You know, I know what it's like spinning out first lap and then you got the rest of the race in front of you to get that all back. So well done to him as well.
Oh dear, 2 in a week, and unfortunately, it's his teammate that highlights it, and it could have been him delivering the goods and taking home the bickies and chockies for Whiskey Business Racing. Not to be for Jackson Dodd, but he's proved a point tonight that he's going to be a contender once he can. Put all the pieces of the puzzle together in any given night throughout the course of this campaign. And speaking of that, before we look at the results here, boys, and I know we'll do that in just a moment, but Nick, let's talk everybody through the schedule of what's to come. The same format, pick and stick throughout the course of the week here, and the season, I should say, the term. All 60-minute races. I know there's always an element of potential for the finale to be extended. We certainly did that with the IndyCars. But and given that the finale is Le Mans, I wouldn't be surprised if you do up the tempo there to maybe 90 minutes. But this calendar's a beauty. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, then on to Imola, Spa, Silverstone, Monza, all circuits synonymous with Formula One Grand Prix racing, as is Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, of course. Then back to an IndyCar favourite in Road America, and sports cars in America as well. Suzuka, which you weren't necessarily a fan of in the wet in the LMP2, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes in the hypercars. Road Atlanta, a sports car classic, and the Circuit de la Sarthe, the Le Mans 24-hour course. No surprise to see that one particular venue, also in Florida, is missing from that schedule.
Well, you can pretty much hang your hat on the fact that Sebring will never be on a Friday night as long as I'm running it.
Exactly.
Look, I'll put it to. We'll see how the field goes over the next couple of weeks. Probably by round 7, I might, if we still got enough people participating, I'll put it to them and say if they want to do an extra 30 minutes there at De La Sarthe. Other than that, most of these circuits, the reasons why I chose them, they either have a WEC race or an IMSA race at them. So, obviously, starting the season with Daytona, which is this very weekend, and then obviously the Le Mans lining up with the race in July. So, you know, Road Atlanta to be the Petite Le Mans, Suzuka, I know they do a WEC race there, Road America, IMSA, all that kind of stuff. So, and they're all classic races, race tracks around the world, so they're all enjoyable and they're very, very good fun in this car.
Indeed they are.
And you're wrong. Rob Colbreth.
Thank you very much, Rob Colbreth. Great to have you tuning in
Thank you, Rob.
again, as per usual. Just going around the grounds as we get ready to do the post-race show here. We've got Nick for a few more minutes as well. The Sydney Thunder at the moment, 8.3 overs gone, 71 for 2, so they need another 81 to win. So from a run rate standpoint, they're ahead of the requirement there at the moment. We'll wait and see if they can go on with that. The Australian Open, of course, I'll get to in just a moment. Yannick Sinner in control there over Blake Shelton in the second set, having won the first in a tiebreaker. And we will get back to the lay of the land there at Melbourne Park very shortly. Still in shock with Novak Djokovic retiring, hurt after the first set of his semi-final earlier today. Sinner in complete control, serving for the second set at 5-2. Results here in Le Mans Hypercar on the platforms, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Saw Aiden Twake too good, 1.45 seconds to the good ahead of Hamish. Hamish Cleland was well back, and he was well clear of Daniel Piper, Brendan Grosh, Matt Schmidtke, Craig Bond and Adam Lavis, all the drivers that finished on the lead lap there, although I'm a little bit worried about Adam's margin, quite frankly. At 2 minutes 11, that doesn't necessarily add up. Andrew Neil was then in their ninth place ahead of Eduardo Zamora, making up the top 10. Scott Jordison, Bobby Comeau, despite the late race incident for Jordison and Neil, they still managed to bring it home. Comeau was 12th. Mark Cochran, Greg Heaney, Ash Dodson, Anthony Connors, Kurt Normanson, Kelvin Little, Shane Ewens and Brett Bradbury made up the top 20. Over the page we go, please, Joe. Just to remind everybody. We can tell you that Dave Oliver was 21st, 22nd, Liam Braid, 23rd, Nick Wilcoxon, 24th, Bruce Barnes, and that is it. Everybody else will be listed as a DNF, no points. David Baz, Harrison Art, Tom Donoghue, Pete Matson, Jackson Dole, Aaron Cooper, Chris Noble, Shane Gilbert, Aaron Russell, and Daniel Benefield. I want to make a point regards Aaron Russell in just a moment. Nick, to you.
I was just going to say, before I disappear, because I've got an early start tomorrow, the two gentlemen commenting on the screen right now, I think we're going to have to look out for them over the next couple of weeks, because this is just a speed hump in the nine races left. So I think they're going to be guys to look out for, and I'll get you to I'll obviously have to duck off, but before the broadcast is through, name your driver of the race. We might see who gets multiple, or hopefully no one gets multiple, because they're all top notch in here, but we'll see how that all pans out. Maybe I can organise something for that.
Anyone keeping their nose clean, you had to tip their hat off to them tonight. Unfortunately, Brett Bradbury brought himself undone. He had his hands on the most positions gained, which when you have 6 appetizers at the start of the evening is a pretty good effort, but then all of a sudden the rear wing departed company with the car, and that brought him back to pit lane. So yeah, unfortunately for Brett, we can't give it to him. Dave Oliver from pit lane, up 16 spots to finish 16th. I think that's well worth noting. Ash Dodson, the biggest mover of the night, 18 positions gained. But let's be honest, I think it has to go to Daniel Piper. I mean, kept his nose clean. You barely saw him on screen, stayed out of trouble all night, and most importantly, in a field where the Acuras and the Ferraris were expected to dominate, he was the first not in one of those cars. So I'm leaning towards Daniel Piper, I must say.
He's in the best sounding car too, by the way, if anybody's heard it.
I'm not hearing anything here in Central Coventry this evening except the dulcet tones of Mr. Fodiatis and Mr. Baldwin. Some great tracks on this calendar, mate. Some great racing. Will we see any wet weather?
Again, I'm going to put that to a vote in the last 3. It probably won't be the last race, but maybe one of the last 2. We'll see how we go. Once again, I want a bit more input from the guys who are racing this on Friday night. So I've gone through and asked a couple anyway myself about some bits and pieces. So I do want them to help shape it, because obviously they're the ones racing it. So we'll see how we go for the first 5, and then I'll start making some changes, adjustments, that kind of thing. If it turns into the Honda Cup, I might have to pull the trigger on a couple of other things before that. But so far, so good. I'm loving it.
Yep, it was very entertaining tonight, no doubt about that. What were the standouts for you, mate, before I let you go? I mean, obviously, we've got 4 hot shots that are going to feature prominently if things go right for them at the front of the field, and 2 of them from the same stable. It bodes well for a competitive campaign.
Oh yeah, for sure. I guess off the bat, I did mention it before. It's, hot heads. First day of school, everybody back in. Part two, I guess the two names of specifically those two gentlemen that were talking before, they'll be in amongst it, and hopefully some more people get their stuff together. That's the best word I could come up with, and make that a bit more of like maybe a 6 to an 8 car fight at the front there. Yeah, just in general, having to just keep picking around and getting all those spots. Like you pointed out, Dave Oliver up 16 from pit lane to 16th, and he just kept going.
Yeah, and didn't put a foot wrong. Lost the rear end momentarily through turn 1 and 2 there late in the piece, but really a very clean run considering how much of a head start he gave the rest of the field. The other big talking point, the absence of neutralisation, meant that we only saw 9-10 drivers in the end finish on the lead lap. So
I also think
that gives you an indication as to how fraught with danger the race was, and how intensely fast it was at the front of the field as well.
I also think, just as we know the bonus points schedule there, as we get further in, it might put a bit more emphasis on that, because I don't think there's too many championships that have been decided on most nights that haven't had bulk bonus points on the leader there. So getting a 0 incident race, getting a top 10 qualifying, getting all those ones ticked off, especially the 0 incident race, it shouldn't be too hard to get, as I've proved to not get one at all last year. But those things will just help push your point score along, and so we'll see how it all shapes out by round 7 for the final 3.
Indeed, we will. Just wanted to make a couple of points here. Firstly, I just had a message in my personal inbox from Craig Wilcoxon. Great call from the team tonight. Regards, Wilco. Thanks, mate. We do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, it didn't go so well for Nick, but still +4 based on where he started, so that's not terribly bad in the grand scheme of things. It could have been a lot worse. There were minuses 29, 26, 21, 28 and 13 tonight ahead of that, unfortunately, and 26 as well. 26 got 2 runs, Chris Noble and Daniel Benefield. And the second one, I must say, I mentioned it Monday night. I'm going to mention it again. Kudos to our good mate Aaron Russell from the Alpha Racing stable, back on the grid. It's the first time I've seen him back on the grid this term. Wretched off season for him, of course. He's wonderful dad, Wayne, at the far too young age of 62, passing away on Boxing Day. I went to the funeral. We caught up there. We said our farewells and goodbyes, but we're thinking of the Russell family. We know it's been a tremendously tough time for them and the entire Go-Karts Go fraternity up there in the New South Wales Hunter Valley. So good on you, Aaron. Well done, mate. Unfortunately, it went pear-shaped early on the race there tonight, but we know that you'll be back when time permits throughout the course of the season. We look forward to seeing you on track there. Final thoughts from you, Nick, before I let you go?
Let's see how it goes for round 2. 1 week at a time.
Yes, very good. You were back on track on Monday night, please?
GT4s, yes. I should. My schedule should also, actually, no, sorry, I'm not even working on Monday. Yes, I will be back on Monday, and then from that next week on, I'll have to double check, but it'll be touch and go whether I can make it.
Due to the time difference in this part of the world. There you go.
And my schedule at work is always changing, so.
But at least when April rolls around, even if you do have a late finish, it's not going to compromise you, because we'll be in line with New South Wales by that point.
Not going to throw fuel on that fire, but yes, you should see me back in the Porsche on Monday night.
Good man. Excellent. Look forward to it. Well done, mate. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Joe.
Enjoy the Rolex 24 from Daytona. I know you'll be watching a bit of that on the telly. I know you got an early start tomorrow morning as well, so we do appreciate you hanging out here. Good on you, mate. Thank you. There he is, Nick Fodiatis. It's nice to have him back in the booth for a full race as well. It's been a while since the old band of Friday Night Motorsport has been back together like that. Let's get stuck into the post-race show here and see how many more swipes I can get in at Queensland along the way. We've got Aidan Luthwaite here. We'll get to our race winner very shortly. We've got his teammate and owner, Greg Heaney, here as well. We've got Kurt Nommenson, Craig Bond, Dave Oliver, Hamish Collins here as well. I hope I'm spelling that right. But I want to start with Matt Distill, because Spreyton Cider, his baby, this is just an extension of all the great series that we've had here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club of this sports car racing type in recent seasons, and not terribly surprising to see you at the forefront of it again, mate. Good evening, Happy New Year. Good to have you back on board. Talk us through that hour from your standpoint, please, and whether there was a little bit of fuel saving and tactical play in that final stint to get to the checkered flag that cost you the win in the end.
Yeah, that was hectic. This new tyre model, cold tyres, everyone's spinning, and then all that lap traffic. It was dodgem cars towards the end there, but yeah, it was a fuel save. My race lab said it was going to go 1 lap more, and then I was saving like mad, and 2 laps to go it removed the lap, and I realized I had enough fuel. So I'll take P2. It was a great fun race with Aiden, and I think realistically Aiden and Jackson were the 2 pace setters tonight. But yeah, no, it was good fun.
And that's the thing as well, mate. You had to dot the I's, cross the T's, and bide your time there in all of that, didn't you? Because, to be fair, there was a rate of attrition in the opening stanza, so it actually served you well to keep your nose clean. And it wasn't necessarily easier just because you're at the front of the field, because you nearly got wiped out by lap traffic towards the end.
Yeah, I think that happened twice. Once going onto the oval with about 4 laps to go, there was a car spinning and flipping, which I think I narrowly avoided. And then, yeah, into turn 1, there was about 2 or 3 cars, and one looked like it was on its lid. So, yeah, look, I'm sure Aiden felt it just as much as I did, because he was in the near vicinity. But no, that was mad.
Indeed. Exciting turnout though, which hopefully bodes well for a good season. But there might be a few, a little bit gun shy after tonight.
Yeah, I mean the GTP's really gained popularity, hasn't it? Even in the officials and stuff. I think the big thing now is everyone getting adjusted to this new tyre model, and you know it's totally different. The first couple of laps you really have to nurse them and be careful, because it's not like the old days where you can just go flat out straight away, because they will murder you if you abuse them.
Indeed. Geez, we're getting a little bit graphic with our descriptions here on a Friday night, aren't we, ladies and gentlemen? Good thing that we're past that 10 o'clock threshold almost here on the eastern seaboard, and almost past that 7 o'clock threshold on the west. But in saying that, fair point, because high reward, high speed, but incredibly high risk. And we saw a few people find that out the hard way tonight. How much preparation time went into your campaign, please? And I know the Acura is the flavour of the month, but is there any particular reason why you chose that over the other 4?
So not too much. I did a little bit of practice last night. I wasn't able to do the Daytona 24 because it was mine and my wife's anniversary, so we went away for the weekend. But
brownie points with the bride. Good work.
Yeah,
good work.
I know. Yeah. And the Acura, I've always run it. I've always run the Acura, but it does seem to be quite OP this season. That's for sure. I think the Acura has been the quickest in every official so far this season.
Fair point. And I mean, top 3 tonight is evidence and verification of that, no doubt. You've probably seen the calendar already. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, the next stop. A lot of Grand Prix circuits in here, but some sports car favourites as well, mate. What's your pick?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun season. I think all the tracks are going to be very, very quick, and I think the racing's going to be great in all of them. What's going to be very interesting is as it's open setup and it's not following the official calendar, you're going to have to work on your own setups accordingly, because you don't have that aid of just going to a race shop. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting, but very intrigued.
Indeed. Only a couple more from me before I let you go. What else are you going to apply your trade at throughout the course of the season? And given what we saw earlier this afternoon when we replayed Super Formula Lights, you must be glad that you've been able to put the sponsor's product and attach it to that series for this term.
Yeah, for sure. They're a great little car, and provide awesome racing again. Look, you'll see me pop my head in for the occasional race there, but I think realistically, this will be the series that you see me in, week out. Yeah, because these are the sorts of cars that I love.
Do you go about your campaign any differently now, knowing that you've still got 2 drop rounds at your disposal, but key rivals in the championship fight here, if they can, string their performance together in a full capacity based on their qualifying pace, the likes of Jack O'Dyle and Chris Noble have already burnt one of those?
Yeah, well, again, I'm in the situation where I go up to Brisbane for two of the weeks, so there will be drop rounds there, I think. Shout out to Josh Zeno, he did offer me his rig last season for the LMP2. So, seeing as though this week's gone so well, I'll see how we go. I'll see how we go at Gilles Villeneuve, and if he's happy to have me on a Friday night twice, I might use his rig.
I'm sure he will be. He wasn't in a hurry to get into the broadcast booth tonight, so I'm sure it's available. And the other thing as well is you must let me know what it's like when you do come up here, adjusting to completely different hours in terms of daylight, dark, and what it's like being in pre-civilization as we are up here at this time of the year. You must let me know what you think of all of that. It'll be nice to have you in the alleged Sunshine State, though.
Yeah, you need to be careful with that, though, because I was born in Queensland, so, you know.
I stand by my point.
No, it's beautiful up there. But, yes, I do agree that the whole no daylight savings is a bit funky.
Well, that's one word for it. There's other words that are along similar lines of funky, but we won't go there because this is a family-friendly program. Mate, go well. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks for the entertainment tonight. Looking forward to more battles between you and Luthwaite and co throughout the course of the season. Go well.
Thanks very much, Zach, and yeah, thanks, boys. Good racing tonight. Cheers.
Aidan Luthwaite, race winner, twice in the week, twice in a Spreyton Ciders sponsored. Jacko, you're absolutely full of it. The only light that you'd be getting at the moment would be storm lightning at this point in time. Trust me, it is pitch black and has been for about 3 hours here. Now, on that subject, Aidan Luthwaite, 2 championships sponsored by Spreyton Cider. You've won them both in opening week of 2025. What a start of the campaign.
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing race to say the least. Very unfortunate to what happened to Jackson, of course, but that was absolutely great racing with Matt there. I think, yeah, I was on the same sort of lines with him where, you know, I was sort of worried about with fuel, sort of not worried about it at the same time, trying to figure out, you know, how long exactly the race would go for, incorporating both the pit stop times as well. But yeah, managed to work it out in the end okay. Did have to save a bit of fuel, so I did stay behind Matt there just to try and, you know, get that draft and just lift and coast a fair amount into the high speed corner. But yeah, got it done in the end, and it was absolutely great racing.
I was going to say the alleged sunshine is disappearing at a rapid rate of knots as well, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of rain around the state of Queensland at the moment as we go to air here. There were storms threatening earlier, so we're very lucky that we got through the broadcast without a blackout. And similar today as well, when we replayed Super Formula Light, mate, let me just get a couple of comments from you with regards to that. Before we go any further, that couldn't have gone any better for you. But again, you had a company every step of the way there. The pressure was on for a good chunk of that race as well.
No, sure was 100%. No, back to back, you know, both those races have been, you know, really top notch in terms of competition and things like that. I had to hold off Scott a fair amount in that, you know, Watkins Glen race, and very, very similar, you know, sort of thing here with Matt. And yeah, they're very different cars to drive these. They feel obviously a lot more boaty, these ones, but I prefer to drive these ones personally. They've just got more power. I prefer things, you know, that have got more power.
And we'll have a look at those championship points again very shortly and remind everybody of where we're going and what we're doing. The Le Mans Hypercar GTP Cup points are being updated by Adam Lavis as we speak, so we'll have them too for you before we say a good night. There's so much info to absorb here after the opening week of the campaign. Watkins Glen and Daytona, very high-speed circuits, mate. But the Super Formula Light and the Hypercar are probably 2 distinctly different cars. Which one are you enjoying more? Do you have a favourite?
Definitely the Hypercar, I reckon, yeah. I just prefer cars that have got a little bit more power, you know what I mean? Something that's, you know, able to spin those rear wheels under its own sort of, you know, under its own sort of power. And yes, narrowed it down to the Honda in the end, just based on you know, how strong it's been in the officials, how strong it's been at Daytona 24, blah, 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 blah. You know, after doing a lot of testing and things in the off season, sort of came to the conclusion that, you know, the car's pretty stable. It's got a nice, you know, grippy front end, great turn in. It can be a little bit sort of, it tries to over rotate a little bit too much, I reckon, depending on what your setup is, but it's something you can't really remedy without changing your driving style or adjusting the anti-roll bars or anything. But yeah, definitely a favourite, I reckon, the Honda.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm coming back to that in a moment. The slowdown on the final lap at the Glen, was that orchestrated for a photo opportunity?
Yeah, it was. I think there was another car that was in the way. I'm not too sure who it was.
Photo-bombed, yes.
Yeah, we did get photo bombs there slightly. But yeah, that was meant to be a form finish sort of thing. So I think we got about, I think it was a 10th or 2 in it in the end. So, you know, it wasn't too bad, I suppose.
Indeed. Burnout's definitely a Queenslander. Yeah, good on you, Andrew. Very good. I like the stitch up there. Now, with regards to the hypercars, you got to be precision pinpoint with these things, don't you? Because they can bite you hard.
Yeah, 100%. No, you really feel that, I reckon, with this particular track through the bus stop. It's, you know, you've got to have that really pointy front end, otherwise the car's just going to oversteer on the exit, and then you're going to get that slowdown like, you know, me and Matt, and I'm sure a lot of other people got during the race. So you've got to really have that pointy front end, have to be really, really precise with the car in terms of, you know, your steering input and things like that. But you don't want to, you know, obviously have too much front end, otherwise that thing's just going to rotate, and then it's just going to, you're going to be end up on the grass. So very precise, these cars, for sure.
But nothing like living on the edge, eh? And living by the sword and dying by the sword, in the sense that they are high speed. I mean, the laps come and go very quickly. The average speed is extraordinary. But if you get it wrong, and we certainly saw a few examples of that tonight, you pay the price in a big way.
Yeah, 100%. No, there's definitely a few scenarios in this car where, you know, you're really on the limit, and if you just step over the limit ever so slightly, then it can go really wrong really quickly. You'll just, you know, spin yourself the other way. You'll overcorrect. It'll just go, yeah, really badly really quickly. But I enjoy these cars a lot. You know, anything that's high downforce, high speed, it's great. You know, honestly, if GSRC did a Formula One league, I'd be, you know, like a modern Formula One league, I'd be there in there in 2 seconds. But but yeah, I love these high speed cars, 100%.
I'm glad you clarified the use of the word modern, because we've got the retro Formula One series going on at the moment as well. Let's get your thoughts on going toe to toe with Matty Distill, and also the fact that it was unfortunate that Jacko, who was the pace setter for the first stint and led by a comfortable margin, he fell foul of trying to avoid somebody else's garbage. It looks as though it's not going to be clear-cut, straightforward, this championship this season.
No, it's not. I think, yeah, you only really have to look as far as the qualifying tables, you know, for this race to look at that. There were a lot of people here that if they were to make the distance of the race, obviously they could be, you know, there in the end, and it'd be a really, really good battle between a bunch of other drivers as well. So I think that's something to look forward to going on into this season, is, you know, how close the field's going to be. But yeah, really, really unfortunate for Jackson. I think, yeah, he was definitely the pace setter tonight out of anyone. Obviously had that practice up his sleeve for the 24, which really, you know, paid dividends there. But yeah, just got caught out on cold tyres, I'm pretty sure, and looped it, unfortunately. But yeah, something to learn from.
Indeed. What are your thoughts on the two calendars? Obviously, Super Formula Lights being an entree slot going into the Porsches, where you also rock and rolled quite nicely last night, if memory serves. But then also the Super Formula, the LMH-GTP calendar. They're two diversely different calendars, aren't they?
100%, yeah. I haven't looked into the SFL calendar too much, but the GTP calendar, I reckon, obviously will probably be my main one going forward. But yeah, looking forward to Friday nights a lot, 100%. There's a bunch of great tracks, you know, Circuit du Villeneuve, there's Spa. Yeah, there's a lot of good tracks here I'm looking at right now. Silverstone, yeah, there's a really good track list at the moment, so looking forward to it 100%.
And the livery for these hypercars, mate, they might be the livery of the term. I know we're only... Hang on, Andrew Neal, he sounds elegant enough to have a wood grain dash in the hypercar. Do you know what he's talking about there?
Yeah, inside joke.
Copy. All right, let's continue on. The livery, that might be the best livery of the season. I know it's only week one, term one, but that might be the best livery of the year.
I think Greg's done a great job with it. I think with the effect of the back as well, with on the shark fin sort of thing with the WBR logo, that looks absolutely brilliant, and obviously with the color scheme as well, the black and yellow. But if you could change the inside of the interior, that'd be pretty cool. But unfortunately, iRacing doesn't let us do that.
No, baby steps in terms of the innovation that iRacing brings to the table. We've seen that far too many examples of that, rather, over the course of the last 5 years. How does Aidan Luthwaite spend the weekend and prepare for week 2?
I'll be working over the weekend, but in terms of prep for week 2, I'll be probably just putting most of my time towards Friday night again, and might do the 79s again and the SFLs, maybe the Porsche Cup, and go from there.
Maybe the Porsche Cup. Okay, I believe there was a bit of a trade-off actually between you and Greg Heaney, that you conned him into coming and running. I think it was SFL. And therefore he's conned you into going and running the Porsche, or was it something else?
Yeah, no, that's correct. Yeah, no, so he wasn't initially going to do the SFLs. He was just going to do Porsche Cup, but I was the other way around. So we just met in the middle sort of thing, and we ended up doing both. I had absolutely no practice at all in the Porsche Cup, but managed to get a good result in the end, which was amazing.
Very good. A very good result on a very good racetrack as well. And looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table next week, mate. A sensational start to the season, and a chance to tick off a piece of GSRC history here as the Friday Night Prince, and a third different discipline, a third different car.
Well, I mean, that's the goal, but I think third time round it's going to be more difficult than ever with how competitive the field is. But I'll be giving it my all, and we'll have to wait and see how the next 9 weeks unfold.
All right, very nicely done. Congratulations again. We'll let you go. Enjoy the weekend. It is a long one in every sense of the word, and we'll see you on Monday night.
Cheers, Zach. Thank you.
There he is, Aidan Luthwaite. A very nice performance. I'm going to come back to you, Greg Heaney. Let me go to Hamish Cleland and say well done on third, mate. Congratulations. Nice performance here for Frog Leap Juiced. Talk us through the race from your standpoint, because it looked like you were a bit lonely there at the end, but lonely might not necessarily have been a bad thing on this racetrack, given the rate of attrition and the way in which, carnage unfolded and people were getting caught up in other people's incidents inadvertently.
Yeah, no, it was definitely not a bad thing. Very sort of open, because a lot of misfortune befell people at the start, which went in my favour. But it was really a shame for Jackson and especially my teammate Brandon. They all got involved, and they all would have beaten me on pace. But sometimes it's just a case of right place, right time, and you just was sort of no one around, but not the worst thing in the world this time.
All right, very nicely done. A bit of a new name to some of our GSRC audience. So give us the Hamish background, please, and what brings you to Friday Night Motorsport on our platforms.
Yeah, well, it's good to be here. It's my first GSRC race, so it's a good start to be on the podium.
See, this is the thing. I'm really glad that you said that, because I'm like, I'm going to try and word that in a way that suggests that we might have seen you before, but I was pretty confident that we hadn't, and you just verified that I was right. So I'm happy with that. Keep going. Sorry.
No, you're all good. I've been on the league for a while, just because it's sort of the mix of different disciplines interested me. But this is the first season I've actually come in and commit to everything, and I'll probably end up racing Friday nights, and I'm also quite keen on doing Monday night GT4. Being a Kiwi, the earlier leagues are better, and that's good in that you've got the earlier leagues and the later leagues, so benefits everybody, including WA to NZ. There's a big time shift there, so
especially at this time of the year, bigger at this time of the year than what it is in winter. Stick around, you'll get my thoughts on that quite frequently throughout the course of the term. But it is Saturday morning over in your parts already. Now, on that subject, what drew you to the LeMans Hypercar?
Oh, to be honest, it was my mate Brandon dragged me in. I'm usually more in the GT sort of space, whether it be GT4, GT3, or even TCR. But Brandon's sort of convinced me after the 24 to run this, and I'm probably not as quick as him in this car, but it's endurance, not a sprint, and sometimes it works in your favour.
Very nicely done. And obviously the Frog Leap stable, we know those guys very well, and well represented on the grid here. I mean, yes, you were third, but also Brendan in the top 5 too.
Yeah, he had a great comeback drive there. He was sort of had a couple of incidents, I think, on the first lap and a spin as well, but came back and yeah, had great pace and was just slowly making his way through. And I think he nearly ended up 4th, but it was a good effort from, I can't remember who finished 4th, but yeah, keeping him behind. And yeah, hopefully we'll have some more drivers in the future. But I know some of our other drivers run some of the other leagues. I know a couple of people in the Porsche League last night, in the GT3 League. My mate Scott runs in the GT4 League, or at least did last week. So yeah.
Indeed. And no doubt you've seen the calendar already for what's on offer on a Friday night here. What are you most looking forward to? What are you least looking forward to?
I'm going to be very honest. I haven't actually seen the calendar.
Joey, can you do us a favour and put it up on the screen so we can have a look at it on the fly here, please? There it is.
Go.
Daytona, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Imola, and Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps on Valentine's Day. If we have a full house here on Valentine's Day, there's a lot of you that are going to be in the doghouse with wives and girlfriends and the like. Thankfully, I'm single as a Pringle, so I'm okay. I'll be here. Don't worry about that. I've got nothing better to do.
I'm married. That stuff's gone by the wayside years ago.
Future. I was going to say, Joe, I wasn't sure what you had planned, whether it was going to be a breakfast maybe or an afternoon thing.
No, I'm
then again, by the time we knock off, the cafes and eateries will still be open in your part of the world.
Pretty much. But no, my wife and I have an understanding. It's our 19th wedding anniversary the week before, so we celebrate our wedding anniversary, not Valentine's Day, because we're sick of each other 10 days after our anniversary.
Yes, my folks will be racking up anniversary number 38 on Valentine's Day. Dad choosing that date conveniently so that he would get constant reminders from the radio and therefore wouldn't be able to forget its anniversary. Silverstone, Monza, Road America, Suzuka, Road Atlanta, and Circuit de la Sarthe to wrap us up. So now that I've run that through and you've seen it, Hamish, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it looks like a pretty good calendar. Got all the big hitters in there and a few smaller tracks, which is sort of what I like. I know people complain about the big tracks being overused, but I mean,
I was pushing for Oran Park, but he wouldn't have it.
I'd like to see that. That would be good fun.
I would have gone one better, Joe. I would have gone Phillip Island or Bathurst. I reckon that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, Knock Hill.
Knock Hill Tri-Oval, that's the one.
Yes.
No, but no, I'm actually for me. I think probably the track I'm really looking forward to on that list there is Suzuka. I think these cars are going to be absolutely magic around there. R130 is probably going to be one of the most exciting corners on the whole calendar. So for me, that's the one I'm looking forward to, is Suzuka for sure.
Yeah, that'll throw the cat amongst the pigeons, no doubt about that. I mean, you look at those other circuits, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Spa, Silverstone particularly, and Monza and Road America, particularly known for horsepower, and Le Mans. But Suzuka and also Imola are a little bit more technical, so that'll put these guys through their paces, no doubt about that. Hamish, anything on the officials front or the testing front for you and the team this weekend?
In terms of myself, so where I am, we have a long weekend as well, but I'm a bit raced out after the 24, and I was also trying really hard to get into the Logitech series, but people there were just too quick at the end of the day. So yeah, probably time for a bit of a break, I think. But I'll be back Monday for GT4, I think. So yeah, might do pilot over the weekend as well, but we'll see how we go.
Geez, there's a fair pace discrepancy between GT4 and Le Mans Hypercars, no doubt about that. And why the Acura for you before I let you go? I mean, obviously, we're going to get a few more opportunities to chat to you throughout the course of the season, but 5 different manufacturers to choose from. It seems as though the Acura is fairly popular.
Yeah, at least for me, when I was testing different car selections for the 24, it just felt like it rotated the best, if that makes sense. I know the Ferrari's got a top-end pace, and Brandon had pretty good pace in that. The BMW, I've driven it too much because it was the first hypercar and it's just not ideal. Porsche I haven't really driven, and the Caddy is an option, but it's just not very fast in my opinion. But I have heard there's BOP adjustments, is that correct?
Joe might be able to elaborate on that. Our series organisers exited the building for the night in Nick Fodiotis.
Sorry, I was distracted. What was that, Hamish? Sorry?
The BOP adjustments during the season. I know we straddled 2 iRacing seasons, so that could be a factor. But
yeah, I'm not too sure. I think if there's a glaring anomaly, I'm sure Nick will look at a BOP. The big trick as well is being an open series. It kind of makes it difficult. You know, me personally, I'm a big believer in fixed series. I think it levels a lot of playing fields, but it's easier to BOP stuff that's fixed. When you're on an open setups, you could have, like, for instance, nobody in a Ferrari, for instance, has a decent setup, or they're running too much wing, so you might BOP it to change it. But I'm sure Nick will probably keep an eye on the iRacing BOPs and what they might do with the class, and he'll probably adjust accordingly. So, or if Aiden keeps spanking everybody, he might slow his car down. I'm not sure.
yeah, it's why it can be good to pick the car that everyone else picks. Sort of makes it easy from your perspective. Like, you're never at advantage or disadvantage. It's mostly about the skill. But that means that some of the people that picked other cars might have an advantage. So it goes both ways. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And it's one of those 6-1 hard. You know, you can't keep everybody happy all the time. You keep some people happy some of the time. So we've changed to an open setup, which I think is probably a good thing. We generally, everything's run on a fixed setup. I think our supercars are open and these are open. So it's good. It's a bit of a mix through the club now. Just try and open it up a little bit to the people that want to concentrate on a certain series might want to actually put the hours in for a setup. And and you look at like Matt and Aiden tonight, I'm sure they put a bit of work into their setups and were rewarded with a good result. So season goes on, I'm sure they'll learn to adjust.
All right, very nicely done. We'll let you go at this point, Hamish. Well done, mate. Congratulations. A podium on your GSRC debut, and certainly a name to watch going forward. It'll be interesting to see if you can take the fight to those guys that were just a little bit further up the road tonight, a little bit later on in the season. I mean, let's be honest, 25 seconds is a huge margin from second to third, but the fact that you were 27 seconds clear of the next best, that bodes well for you going forward throughout the course of the campaign. Go well.
Awesome. Thanks for having me here in the commentary box. It's been good.
You're welcome anytime. Someone that's very well acquainted with the commentary box at this particular point in time is Kurt Nommensen, and so too Craig Bond. I'm going to those two first, and I'm going to come back to Greg Heaney in a moment because there's a bit of housekeeping to do with Mr. Heaney. But a tale of two different tapes here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to talk to you two simultaneously because Kurt Nommensen had tremendous qualifying pace and put himself firmly inside the top 10 in the Fez, up there in 7th. And then it all went, knockers up at turn 1. He ended up poleaxed and plummeting down the order, and then working his way back through the field to finish a very respectable 18th. And on the opposite end of that, only one small moment in a very solid 1 hour performance from my little mate in Gunda guy, Craig Bond, who nets a top 10 finish in an ultra competitive field after starting 22nd on the grid. Start with you, Kurt. You'd be delighted with the 1 lap pace. You'd be disappointed that it all went belly up very quickly.
Yeah, definitely sucked. I feel like I definitely could have been a lot further up. I think I just got tagged by Daniel. I don't know exactly. I haven't gone back and looked at it. I did try and move over to try and not clean up another car, so just a bit of a mess at turn 1, and it is what it is. But I was happy with the race pace. The car felt really good under me, and had a lot of pace going through the bus stop. I think that's where I gained a lot of time over a lot of the other guys around me. So a good car underneath me. Just a shame that it ended early at lap 1.
You've gone with the Ferrari, so against that grain of, the top 3 lockout of Acuras, and at one point it was the top 7 until attrition kicked in. Why the Ferrari?
We ran it for the Daytona with the BOP. It was actually, I think, one of the faster cars. BMW, I think, still eclipsed it. But no, I did a lot of practice in this car for Daytona, and I think I'm most comfortable in this car. Out of all the GTPs I've driven, this is the car I can get pace out of the most consistently without putting it in a fence.
Indeed, and nice recovery in the sense that you were able to push your way back through, but the damage was done with that stop and hold tow job on pit lane. You lost a lot of time there, and therefore got back out on the track a lap down, stayed a lap down. So tick the box in the sense that you only lost a lap out of all of that, and unlike others who just put it in the too hard basket, at least you persevered with it.
Yeah, definitely didn't help that I also had a second trip down pit lane a little bit later on for another fast repair, because I think when Thomas was sideways on the track, I just clipped the back of his car, and apparently one of the guys in the call said my wheel had about 45 degrees of camber on the left-hand side, so it wasn't very happy as I tried to crawl it back to the pits then too.
Indeed. How excited are you to give this a proper crack throughout the course of the 10 weeks, and what's your view on the calendar and the quality of the field that turned up tonight as well?
Yeah, it's going to be a really good season. I'm looking forward to a lot of close racing. It seems like if we don't have those big lap 1 accidents, it's going to be a very competitive field at the front, and trying not to crash out will be the big thing, and just trying to avoid the accidents. So looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting, seeing as the Ferrari hasn't been to half of these tracks. It's not going to have the setups, so I'm going to have to either look at someone that can do setups, or have to spend some time working out a setup for the car.
Indeed. Just before I get your thoughts on a couple of other things here, Kurt, I'm just going to let everybody know 3 overs to go at the Sydney Cricket Ground, 23 runs required by the Sydney Thunder. They are 5 for 129, chasing 152. They need 23 off 18, and they're just taking the power surge. So it bodes well for them, but the Sixers have got to be very good over the course of the next 18 balls to restrict the Thunder from a date with the Hobart Hurricanes on Monday night. I'll get a tennis update there for you before we leave the broadcast booth as well. But sticking with you, Kurt, the rest of the campaign is going to be very interesting. But more than that, when you look at the World Centre of Racing and the rate of attrition tonight, all of a sudden we've got a serious appreciation for how difficult these things are going to be to steer in any given week. Is it a case of it's going to take a few guys here a bit of time to get their head around them, or what do you put it down to, the fact that we had such a rate of attrition tonight?
I think part of it might have been just the learning curve with the new tyre model for some of the guys, because I don't think a lot of them drive the new GTP tyre model very often, where I've had that bit of practice with Daytona week with IMSA, the 24-hour, but no, it's definitely just going to take a little bit of time for some people to get around that cold tyre lap 1. You don't really need them during the race. I didn't change tyres at all, so just it'll be interesting to see. Looking forward to it and seeing how the guys that were further down the back, if they can improve and come race with more of the guys up the front.
All right, very nicely done. What's the plans for the long weekend before we reconvene on Monday, please?
We'll see. I got tomorrow off. I got close on Sunday, and then I got Monday off, so it'll be a very interrupted long weekend, but we'll probably throw some laps in towards the GT3s, and then maybe turn the focus to the supercars and that, as I've got a very busy week ahead of me with 2 different leagues and racing pretty well every night from Monday to Friday.
All right. A busy boy for the first week of the new campaign, mate. You've made some interesting points there too with the tyre models and other things. Be interesting to see whether the Cadillacs and the Ferraris and the Porsches and the BMWs can get closer to the Acuras as the term goes on, and hopefully a chance for you to convert qualifying pace into a race result next week at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Go well for the weekend, and we'll see you Monday.
Yeah, too easy. And I just want to point out to when Joe was talking about the fixed sets, I do prefer this being open, because with a fixed set you can't touch the deployment mode, which is a very crucial part of these cars. So being open set, you could play with deployment. Fixed set, you're stuck with whatever they put in the setup.
There you go. I actually had to buy one of the cars tonight to even be able to broadcast, so I knew nothing about these cars, mate. They're not my thing.
Yeah, I did hear that. That's why I wanted to bring it up, that I'm glad Nick went with the open sets.
I love it. No, Nick has put another good series together here. There's no doubt about that. And it just goes to show that there is a market for the hypercars. Even though we no longer see our Sunday Enduros, there's still a lot of desire to go running in these vehicles. And it's good to see that's been well supported first time up in 2025. Thanks again, Kurt. Well done, mate. Enjoy the weekend.
Too easy. Thank you, guys.
Down there in Progressive Civilization. Speaking of Progressive Civilization, hello, Bondi. That's probably the best performance that I've seen you put in on broadcast in the short time that you've been part of the GSRC framework here, mate. Well done. Great result. And it pays to keep your nose clean, doesn't it?
Didn't keep my nose clean on the last lap, sadly, though.
No, what happened there with you and Adam Lavis, please?
I kind of lost skill and talent, which is a normal thing for me to do, which is spinning at turn 1 and then kind of slightly roll forwards, I think I did.
Oh, okay.
Right as he was on my nose, I slightly rolled. It would have been touch and go if we were going to touch if I didn't roll, but yeah. Either way, I was going to get collected by one of the two there, so...
Unlucky. Hey, in saying that though, you guys are still coming home 7th and 8th, so no harm, no foul really. And you up 15, Adam up 12, and in the grand scheme of things, that's a minor incident compared to some of what we saw throughout the course of the night here. Now, on the subject, I'm just keeping an eye on the Sydney Thunder and the Sydney Sixers at the SCG. The Thunder throwing the kitchen sink at the Sixers, trying to get into the final at their expense. We'll keep you across that with only 14 balls left to be bowled. You've driven a few different cars. I mean, you haven't mucked around here, have you? In terms of getting well acquainted with iRacing and everything available to you on the server. What is it about the hypercar that agrees you with you in the same way as the Gen 3 supercar? Because you've really developed a niche for that. You've found yourself right at home there.
I don't know. They're two different cars. One has heaps of downforce, the other one has none. And somehow the Gen 3 car and this is my best cars. So, I don't know. I think, though, Hypercar is my second favourite and Gen 3 is my favourite, though.
All right, very interesting. And the GTP here tonight, I need to ask you, why the Porsche as opposed to the Cadillac, the Ferrari, the Acura, or the BMW? Is there something about the Porsche that just agrees with you?
Well, I only had, like, I don't even know when I bought this.
No.
I got iRacing, then I'm just like, I might as well get a GTP because that makes I can do LMP2, GT3, all this for some of the Enduros. And from what I read on forums, this was the most stable. And I'm pretty sure Nick had it already. I don't know, but I didn't, like some, I don't exactly have money to go spend and buy every car in the game for every series to just go test. So I've got to kind of just go off of what forums and other people say about how it is and just guess.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, apart from that little incident with Adam Lavis and seeing your way through the carnage throughout the course of the evening, what else do you take away from that hour? What else stood out for you?
I wasn't expecting air races to be my strong suit. I think I'd be too tired midway through, but I know what to do next week with strategy and fuel saving, since I fuel saved all race, or did my first stint, didn't fuel save, but when I figured I had to fuel save, and then I was told with like 4 minutes to go that I didn't have to do any of that because they dropped a lap. So I could have probably had another position, maybe 2, if I didn't have to fuel save. So that was kind of annoying.
Indeed. Now, you've seen the calendar. Actually, before I ask you about the calendar and next week and Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, a circuit that I don't mind causing a crash on in the Formula 1 games, as you know very well. But in saying that, let's get your thoughts. Disappointing for Nick, but he fought back well. He had an incident early in the piece, I think, ended up a couple of laps down, but at one point there he was flying.
I don't even know what half of his race was, because midway through his PC had enough of being behind me, so it just crashed on him, and then did the same thing later on, so...
Copy that. That'll explain why he was a few laps down at the end there. And he was going all right in the Super Formula Lights as well earlier in the day until he, run into a bit of trouble. So you two ended up following each other home, I do believe, in Super Formula Lights, if I've done my homework correctly.
Yeah, I think he followed me. We kind of changed the team from Apex Hunters Sim Racing to Apex Hunters Airlines after Super Formula Lights last night.
Yes, correct.
After
and they're not cars that fly all that well, I must say.
Nah, I don't think they suit flying.
But something about you and flying at Watkins Glen that seems to be rather common when we go there for broadcast.
Well, I wasn't a fan of that. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, turn 5 or whatever last night. I think it was downshifting, and then lost the rear, and then I spun and had pretty much something was going to happen. So, and then you get launched.
Yeah, that's fair. What are your thoughts on the calendar and everything else that's coming up?
At least next week I won't have you trying to take me out all race. Or put it this way, both of us taking each other out. So at least
That's true.
Feel safe.
Correct. Yep. I can't speak for the other lunatics out there though, but yes, at least I won't be.
Well, lucky it's not a private hosted session, so me and Nick can't kill each other. But
that's it.
At least it's professional. But
True.
Next week I reckon it's going to be my worst week, I reckon.
Okay, interesting. We'll watch this space. We'll see if you're accurate or whether you're full of it by this time next Friday night. And well done on just the bluntness of the drive-by just now, throwing me under the bus. I will remember that and put that in safekeeping for later in the season. Thank you, Craig. Have a good weekend. See you Monday night, GT4, GT3.
You too.
Greg Heaney, thanks for sticking around to have a chat with us. Very good day for the Whiskey Business Racing Stable.
I haven't just rounded off to a very good week.
True.
Yeah, I'm absolutely stoked with the performance of the boys this week. Aiden going the double podium last night. Jackson with a good performance, and then we've got tonight as well, and then obviously not only just in GSRC, but Aiden, Jackson, and Mark Hilly also took part in FDL on Tuesday. Aiden got a podium in that. And then, it's just a good performance all week so far. So I'm not sure if anybody's actually doing Mountain Men tomorrow night in the 49, but
don't be soft.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not, because I'm going out. I'm actually going to go and see Penn and Teller. So I'm not.
I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Yeah, right.
6 has just been hit by the Sydney Thunder. 6 for 157. They win by 4 wickets with 7 balls to spare. Sydney Thunder to play Hobart Hurricanes Monday night at Ninja Stadium in Tasmania. Job done. The Thunder into the BBL final, just as Greg Heaney finished his point there, literally on cue. And Yannick Sinner through the Australian Open in straight sets as well over Blake Shelton to set up a date with Alexander Zverev. So it'll be Germany v Italia on Sunday night, Australia Day at Rod Laver Arena at Melbourne Park. So looking forward to that immensely. A couple of bits of around the grounds breaking news for you right on cue on a Friday night. You're right, it has been an enormous week for you guys and a good launch pad in which to build the rest of the season off, Greg, and hopefully you guys can go on with it.
Yeah, most definitely. Myself tonight, I was hoping for a slightly better showing, but a little bit happy on the brake pedal, and I think I possibly locked the rear through turn 1, which saw me turn around, and I know I ended up clipping somebody. I'm not sure exactly how much damage I copped on the car, but it's just like, you know what, I'll get it going, I'll wait for the field to go past and then just cycle around and see where we end up in the wash at the end of it. But I will admit, following Hamish around for a dozen or so laps certainly taught me the track and where I could find time and so forth. So I definitely learnt the fast way through turn 1.
Yes. Yes. And the slow way as well. We all learnt that, there's no doubt. Hey, plenty to be excited about, though, with regards to the rest of the Hypercar campaign here. What else have you got? I mean, Aiden Looseweight, let's just focus on him for a moment. What he's been able to bring to the table on a Friday night in recent terms, it doesn't matter what car we throw at him, he's up for the fight and the challenge.
Oh, most definitely. He was, the minute Aiden and both him and Jackson saw it was going to be, heard it was going to be hypercars, they were champing at the bit to get in the car. And then when they were like, "Oh, come on, where's the schedule? Where's the schedule?" And obviously they know I'm on the committee, so they're like, well, "What's going on? Have you heard anything yet? Come on, where is it? Where is it? Where is it?" And then I let them know it was there, and they were just like, "Oh, look at this! This is going to be absolutely fantastic." So
Indeed.
yeah, I'm very unlucky for Jackson tonight.
Yes.
As he mentioned in the chat, he obviously got caught up with cold tyres and misjudged a slightly slower car in front of him that caught him out in the braking zone. So.
And it caught him out pretty quickly, unfortunately, and bit hard partway through that second stint. We've got another cameo appearance coming up in our broadcast booth here. Dave Oliver's just dropped on by, and there's plenty to have a chat with Dave about, and some of it on air, and we'll do that in a moment. But Greg, I mean, the other bit of news, I mean, Andrew Neil, a good result for him in 9th place before jumping on to top up the comment count on our YouTube page. I noticed that there's been a change of teams for Scott Jordison in the off-season. You mentioned earlier in the day to me, Bobby Camo as well. You down there in 14th. I mean, it didn't help that you had to transit the lane as many times as you did, but at least you were able to get to the checkered flag. Same can't be said for a few.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah, as you mentioned, a couple of changes during the off season. Not really going to go into it on air here, but yeah, I mean, things change, people move on, things happen. So yeah, a few changes here and there. But no, as for tonight, I was just trying, like, during practice and trying the setup that Aiden was driving on initially. It just did not gel with me whatsoever. So I grabbed one of the setups that I had at my disposal and threw that in the car. And it's like, for me, it was night and day difference between what Aiden initially had that didn't steer at all on cold tyres, even though I had done a little bit of lap time with the new GTP tyre model. But yeah, the one that Aiden had tuned up for himself, for me, it didn't work. So I threw one of the ones that I had at my disposal in, and it's like, okay, I can actually turn this on cold tyres, so I'm happy with that. And then, yeah, just get through to the end and at least chalk up some points, particularly after, from my standpoint, a dismal performance last night in the Porsches. But yeah, we'll move on to next week. Next week is definitely going to be interesting on a slightly narrower track, being Villeneuve, and knowing how stiff these cars are, you're probably seeing a lot of people slowing down a little bit more for the last chicane at the Wall of Champions than you probably would normally in, say, a GT3 or a GT4.
Correct. And it's looking like it's going to be a full-on campaign, a very entertaining season here in the Le Mans Hypercars, mates. You're right about Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It will throw up a challenge or two, but what about the rest of the schedule?
I'm very much looking forward to it. Myself personally, looking forward to the longer tracks that are on the calendar, particularly Le Mans and Spa. I mean, who knows? Nick Fodiatis might make it rain at Le Mans.
Might.
It'd certainly throw a cat amongst the pigeons, being the length of the circuit. I mean, you imagine that going down Mulsanne and it's wet at the bottom, but by the time you get back around the Porsche curves, it's dry. You'd be mad to try that on wets. But I would certainly make it very interesting if it did have something like that on the longer circuits. But yeah, no, the longer track's certainly something that I'd be looking forward to through the campaign. That's for sure.
Indeed. I mean, we talk about what else is coming up here. I mean, the team's already got one eye on next week, and Aiden and Jackson particularly get ready to lock horns again in Super Formula Light. I mean, Aiden's consistency was the winner there, no doubt about that. But you've got some strong contenders there ready to throw their hand at it, and a couple of guys there that will be hoping to wrestle the momentum and the dominance away from the Whiskey Business Racing stable. Super Formula Lights is going to be hotly contested this term.
Oh, no doubt. I'm hoping that the guys will not have so much red mist, and definitely don't take each other out. I know the guys race pretty hard and race pretty clean. Obviously, give each other space, and for Jackson, I think it's just needs to maybe calm his nerves a little bit, particularly when he's around cars that are a little bit slower than him. I think it catches him out a little bit where he knows where his braking markers are and braking cues are, but the cars that are slightly slower can potentially catch him out. So I think once he makes an adjustment for himself around the slightly slower cars, he would then probably, in particularly say in these hypercars, would make it through a little bit more and be able to push on. As mentioned in the chat in Discord whilst during this broadcast, it was going absolutely nuts. He would have driven away with this had he not had his little incident.
Indeed, and it was a clinical first stint from him as well. So you've got two legitimate chances for silverware this term. Where else are you hoping to tick some boxes, mate?
I'd like to have a decent showing for myself in the supercars. I don't see myself making it into the elite split within the supercars, but at least finishing somewhere maybe within the top 15 of the dev field within the supercars. I'd be happy with that. I was actually quite surprised the other night that I got away with a 1X race for the supercars at the island. So happy with that for myself. GT3s, take the murk out and get the cobwebs out of it for sure. Decent performance for myself on Monday. Turn in some practice laps for the PEL as well. We've got half a dozen. I think we've got about 4 or 5 cars on track for that one for the coming months. So that'll be good. And yeah, Porsche Cup. Hopefully that's a little bit better in the coming weeks. I can still foresee that being very sizable grids, but we'll see what happens.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. And the long weekend, as we know, you've already got plans tomorrow night. How does Sunday and Monday look?
Practice laps. Lots and lots of practice laps.
And of course, you went for the Acura as well, so very much part of the flavour of the month there. As far as the hypercars are concerned, mate, get out of here, go and get some sleep, enjoy the long weekend, and we'll see you Monday night. Well done again to you and the team. An awesome first week.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much, and cheers for putting on the broadcast, guys.
Pleasure to be here. And I just realised the post-race show's gone longer than the race show, but that's another story. That's common, par for the course, commonplace for me. Now, just quickly recapping, Australian Open, Shelton eliminated by Sinner. Sinner through to play Zverev on Sunday night. And, of course, the Thunder have eliminated the Sixers and play the Hurricanes for BBL supremacy on Monday night as well. So a lot to look forward to there. Dave Oliver's the last cab off the rank tonight. Nice of you to stop by, mate. We had a quick brief chat on socials the other night. You got a laugh out of something that I had to say on socials, and a few others did too, which is good. No sense of humour down there in northeastern Victoria, but nevertheless, well done. Despite a pit lane start, and I guess that's the main reason I wanted to have a chat with you as far as getting explanations concerned. Not a bad run up, 16 spots, hung in there, got home in 16 positions gained. Not the most on the track for the night, but close enough to it. A good result.
Yeah, surprising. But yeah, to finish 16th. But I think actually, I was getting out of the way of Matt Distill on the last lap and cut through the bus stop chicane, but stupidly didn't clear the penalty by the start finish line, so copped a 41-second penalty and dropped back to 21st at the end there. But it is what it is. So other than can just completely just screwing up the timing of the race and all that kind of stuff, and meant to choose another car, and then I hadn't driven the Ferrari before, and so all my cockpit view was out, and I thought I had more time, and the next minute I'm hearing all the cars starting, and I'm like, oh dear, and I still hadn't got the cockpit view sorted or some other buttons sorted yet. So it was a mad thing of quickly changing all that stuff and getting the quick mappings correct, and then jumping out literally as everyone's passing me for the second time, so, or for lapping me. So even then, setup wise was the complete default Daytona set. I still thought it was a fixed set, truthfully. I didn't realize it was an open set until after.
That bodes well for the next 9 weeks then.
But yeah, it's just a case of just do some laps and stuff. I haven't really done any laps here at Daytona. I didn't do the 24-hour or anything like that. So, but other than that, I had a quick look through some lap times and stuff, and apparently, three times during the race, set the exact time down to the 1,000th, 2 laps in a row. Nearly did it 4 times. So, bit of consistency there, which is not bad for me.
It sounds like a lot, actually.
Yeah, if you could bet on that, I'd make a bit of money. But anyway, just dawdle around and see what happens. Tried to stay out of trouble.
Mate, very nicely done. What else has kept you entertained during opening week, and what else are you going to try your hand at throughout the rest of the season?
Did GD3 on Monday night, and then mucked around with the Beamer and the 79 on Tuesday. Obviously, very different car. All of them are very different cars. Alton Park with the 79s was very tight track for very wild cars. So it'll just be more of a case, if I'm free and stuff, I'll jump on this season. I'll just kind of treat it as a fun season, this one, and not take anything too seriously. I say that now, but
Yeah, well, this is right. All right, mates. Next week's going to be interesting. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And, of course, Supercars have got Brands Hatch. Porsches have got Imola. There's a lot to look forward to next week.
Yeah, it looks good. I will actually be out west.
Dubbo Hill Climb, that's right.
At the Dubbo, the 12 laps of Dubbo Hill Climb.
Yes.
So I'll be up there for a few days, and then I kind of just had a look. I'll probably, even just with the Friday night GTP stuff, I'll probably miss a handful of events due to other real world racing events. So you got, you got the supercars at SMP and Rally of Canberra, and hopefully the real life Racer Champions in Sydney. So hopefully I'll make it out to that, and hopefully cross fingers with a camera in hand. But other than that, I'll just jump on if I'm free and have a bit of fun in these cars.
All right, mate. Very nicely done, and looking forward to seeing you when you do jump on. A bit hard to ask you about the race because you were chasing your tail from the start there, but you must have been happy to at least show some pace and keep your nose clean and capitalise on the attrition.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure how it was going to go, and I actually, truthfully, I thought we were still going to have like the with the Indy cars and the other Friday night series and having a like a mid-ish race caution, but you know it never came. So you know, just showed how much I didn't notice that in the rules. But you know, drivers never read the rules, don't they?
Yes.
But anyway, it's just a case of I just didn't realize that we weren't running that this season. So yeah. But other than that, you know, just kept it, you know, kept it on the island and just tried to be clean and respectful as I could while trying to make it, you know, past guys that I was kind of getting a lap back from. So there was a few times there that you kind of just had to be, if you got past, it was a case of just try to be clean fast and, you know, bridge that, you know, 1.5, 2 second gap just so, you know, they couldn't really be saying I was holding them up. But yeah.
For sure. Now, the other thing as well, when we think about it here, spare a thought as well for all the people that have ever put supplementary regulations or series regulations or anything like that together, ladies and gentlemen. The amount of people that don't read them word for word, page for page, and still the case here on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. I'm as good as anyone. I don't normally either. But then again, I don't necessarily have to. My wheelhouse is facts and stats and always has been. Good on you, Dave. Hey, have a great long weekend. Hopefully see you sometime next week. If not, enjoy the trip out past Katoomba and Lithgow, but not as far as Orange next week. We hope that goes really well for you.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
There he is, Dave Oliver. Joe, Trucker, before we rock and roll out of here.
Yeah, mate.
Firstly, great to see you back on deck. I know you've been extremely busy over there on the other side of the Nullarbor, but as El Presidente, you must be absolutely thrilled that A, we're back in action, and B, we've had a week of racing that has been as intense, as competitive, as entertaining, and as well attended as this one.
Look, you're right. My work schedule has been crazy. I'm doing sort of 14-hour days at the moment, so I haven't got to follow as much as I like, but I did do the V8 races the other day, and my God, I was like a fish out of water. Those cars are so different to the old ones, but they just put on a show up the front. It was fantastic. So, yeah, really happy with the way that's going. The Porsche last night, a little bit unfortunate, that incident at the start that probably took out nearly a dozen cars, I suppose, was you know, but to see the numbers right across the board, it's so heartwarming. And you know, I think that where we're at the moment as a club is just a testament to the hard work of all the guys that are around in the team in the background, you know, steering the ship. We're probably a little light on race controllers at the moment. So if there's a night the guys have got nothing on, they're not racing, or you know, they've got a couple of spare hours, please get in touch. I've actually got one guy to follow up with tomorrow who's looking to get up on the broadcast on the race control teams. Yep. So we do need some race controllers, especially with the numbers and the strength of what we're doing at the moment. And it's one of those hard things, you know. It's trying to balance the amount of hours I put in with what I'm doing, and making sure that the guys on the team are also getting to do some racing as well. You don't want to have those guys put too much time into the admin side and not get to race, which is, you know, the passion of what we do, which is why we're here, is being able to race and balance that between racing and broadcasting and RCing and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, and easier said than done.
It is absolutely, you know, and it's pretty easy, you know. Some guys that have probably never been involved with the admin side to sit there and you know, throw sticks and stones, but when they don't know what goes on in the background, it's very easy on the admin side to get you back up and get on the defensive. But you know, I can also see it from the other side of the view, because I only raced for a long time, but so I can see both sides of the story. But we do need a bit of help in the in that side of things. It's probably about the only thing that we're lacking at the moment, but that's all covered by volunteers, right? So if you know somebody who's got a bit of spare time, the admin side there with race control probably need a little bit of a hand at the moment, just with how much the club's expanded at the moment. But look, the racing has been, it's been top notch. The F1 Retro Series, I had a good run in that the other night. I think I had a second and a fifth through getting a penalty, but that's my fault.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, it's been great. The Truck Series was fantastic the other night. We're getting good numbers there. And it's like anything, we're still learning what the guys want, what we need. It's the first week back in the new season, and certainly proud of what's going on so far. So onwards and upwards, and I think we're in for a cracking season 25A. Should be great.
I think so too, mate. Thank you very much to you for your efforts throughout the course of the evening. We do appreciate that. Of course, you're backing up again tomorrow night for Mountain Men on the Australia Day long weekend, and I know you were ready to throw friendly fire at Greg Heaney a short while ago. So obviously, it's a car that you're very fond of.
Oh, the Lotus 49, I tell you what, you've got to have you got to wear your big boy pants when you drive that car. It's got as much horsepower as the 79. And it's got about as much downforce as an MX-5. It's a bloody, it's a weapon. It's awesome fun. So like, there's not many cars that are in top gear over the top of the mountain. You can you get a bit of wheel spin. So it's it's certainly a bit of a monster. But that leads us to our schedule for the coming week here, Zach.
And just on the way there, I'm going to throw a little bit of a sledge in the direction of Channel 9's coverage of the Australian Open just now. Joe, I was keeping an eye on that whilst I was talking to you here. And behind James Bracey, right, you're at the tennis. It's a summer sport. It's summertime in Australia. It's as far away from rugby league as you could possibly imagine. And what do you spot behind James Bracey and the sprinkling of spectators? Some dickhead wearing a Queensland State of Origin shirt. Fantastic stuff. You wouldn't know what State of Origin is over there in WA, would you? No, that's all right. Let's have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And we remind you that the Bathurst Lotus 79, Lotus 49, of course, is the setting of the agenda for Mountain Men tomorrow night. 32 laps, the assignment, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time for that. Monday night, week 2 of Term 1 begins with an Oriental double, the Okayama International Circuit for GT4, and then Suzuka for GT3. We'll bring you the Pro-Am Split feature race there and the Am Split opening race of the first of 4 sprint rounds throughout the course of the campaign for GT3. That is Waste Options GT night, the Australia Day Public Holiday Monday long weekend. What a way to end it with us, 7:40 Eastern Daylight Time Monday night. Tuesday night, non-broadcast BMW M Sport Cup from Oschersleben in Germany, followed by a trip to Portugal for the GSRC Formula 1 Retro Championship, which thanks to JJZ Constructions, that is all happening on Tuesday night. The merch.tgsrci.com BMW M Sport Cup from 8 o'clock and the GSRC Formula 1 Retro from 9:15. Wednesday night, Daniel Correa-Sarr, Liam Banks with you. The supercars are in action in the prime time slot. The Oz Trucks, the NASCAR Orbic Australia Truck Series, they'll be in action first up. They go to Texas. That is 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Then we go to Brands Hatch for the supercars. 40-minute race there, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Super Formula Light Thursday night, Phillip Island. It is back live. It is back on its designated night in its designated slot as the lead into the Porsche Cup. So the Spreyton Cider Super Formula Light first up from the island, 40 minutes the journey there, followed by the first of the sprint rounds for the Porsches, 2 races, 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Actually, no, it'll be 9 o'clock, I should say, 9 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time from the Enzo Edino Ferrari. That's the Imola circuit in Italy. That is going to be 9 p.m. So looking forward to your company there. Friday night, Le Mans Hypercars, Spreyton Cider, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, the venue, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Merch store, don't forget, for all your GSRC merch. I know Christmas has come and gone, but Easter's just around the corner, birthdays, etc. and so forth, christenings, weddings, baby showers, all that sort of stuff. We've got something there to cater all your needs. Merch.tgsrci.com or gsrcmerch.myshopify.com for all of that. And of course, it wouldn't be possible to do any of what we do here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club without those people scrolling across the bottom of your screen there, folks. They are integral to everything that we do. JJZ Constructions, merch.tgsrci.com, Trophy AI, Flash Graphics, Spreyton Cider, Waste Options. Yes, Joe?
Isn't that a big coup for the club. Trophy AI, that's something that's been bubbling. I don't know if it's been mentioned. That's been bubbling away in the background for a couple of months, and a lot of hard work by the my co-conspirator in Josh Wino, my VP. He's been onto those guys relentlessly trying to get stuff aligned in the background, and it's a huge coup for the club. Trophy AI, they're a worldwide company that are big involved in sim racing, and just super proud of the effort that he's put in, and the club to be in a position to pick up a sponsor, along with Spreyton Ciders and Waste Options, Orbic, Flash Graphics. All these guys are integral to the where the club is at the moment. Bowens has come along in the last 6 months or so, and that
was the one we hadn't mentioned yet, so you ticked that box. Well done.
And all those guys are just so valuable to what we do and what we can provide as a platform for all our members and the sponsors, and they all go hand in hand. It's not one guy, one shoe fits all. It's a full team of guys that have come together to put on the productions, yourself included, as a part of the production team. So thanks to you again for coming on for another season, Nick for running the series, and all our series runners and everyone on the committee. Like I say, it's at the end of the season, I'll get a bit tongue-tied trying to thank everybody, but it is a team effort. I'm a small part of that cog, and it just seems to be running really well at the moment. So to get a global brand like Trophy AI that are involved in sim racing on board, I think, to be good for the club. So really glad to throw that out there, along with JJZ Constructions as well, which obviously is Josh Duino. So, not really happy with where it's going at the moment.
And just like that, at 11 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, or a couple of minutes away there from, we're done. Ladies and gentlemen, as far as broadcasts are concerned for week one of term one of 2025, an historic and very special 20th season for the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. We sincerely hope that you've enjoyed it. Yannick Sinner of the Sydney Thunder and Aidan Luthwaite, all winners on a Friday night, but only Aidan Luthwaite lighting up the Daytona International Speedway. Pushed all the way by Matt Distill. Jackson Dale, Chris Noble, unlucky, but it sets up a tantalising season of hypercar racing here in sprint form for those guys, at least on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. Plenty of sport to look forward to this weekend. The Santos Tour Down Under cycling wraps up. You've got the World Rally Championship season opener. Rugby Sevens in Perth. In fact, they're continuing through till about midnight. You've got the men's and women's finals in both doubles and singles at Melbourne Park. You've got the Women's Ashes third T20 tomorrow night, the Big Bash final Monday night. No shortage of sport to sink your teeth into. And, of course, on YouTube, you'll be able to watch the real world IMSA, United Sports Car Championship, WeatherTech, Rolex 24 at Daytona to get the big event season underway in the real world. And then, of course, next week, all eyes turn to the Dubbo Hill Climb. So we're looking forward to that immensely. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Thank you to Nick Fodiatis as well. Great to have you along for the ride. Yep, we're up and going, firing on all cylinders at long last after a 6-week break. But it was worth the wait. We've had an extraordinary opening week of competition, and it bodes well for the next 9 weeks, which we look forward to bringing you starting Monday night, 7:40 Eastern Daylight Time, with the GT doubleheader from Japan, Okayama and Suzuka, most notably for 4 and 3 respectively. A 3-race program and a nice way to end the Australia Day long weekend. On that subject, the Australia Day, the Australian of the Year Awards tomorrow night on the ABC, the Australia Day concert Sunday night as well. Plenty to sink your teeth into this weekend as we celebrate the National Day. It's a long weekend to savour our first one of the year, but whatever you do, be responsible and be safe in whichever way you go about it. We look forward to your company Monday night as Term 1 action continues on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Until then, on behalf of Joe Baldwin, Nick Fodiatis and the entire crew here, I'm Zach Caden. We'll catch you next time. Have a great evening, everybody. Bye for now.